Good evening, everyone. This is the Budget Finance Committee Department Head Review number 2, February 29th. And the first order of business is call to order, so I'm calling the meeting to order. And on the agenda is new business. And we are starting Department Head Review number 2. And first up on the docket are the provider agencies.
Karen, can I
Yes.
just put something out real quick, just a public announcement?
Okay.
Regarding Wyndham Eagles boys high school basketball, won the Class AA North Championship, and it's Wyndham Raymond kids, and they are playing on Saturday at the Cross Insurance Arena against Gorham. So we want to say congratulations for the Class AA North, and good luck on Saturday. And from what I understand, the 6th and 7th graders, maybe you know more about this, Joe, did fantastic. The boys did at the school, and they said it was the rec.
No, we won. It was travel. It was 5th, 6th, and...
Nope, that's another one.
Oh.
Yes, so it's another one. There was the Jordan Small School. The playoffs, they lost last night.
Yeah.
And then, yes, because one of them came in. So boys basketball all over. And you got another one, the travel.
Fifth grade travel won main state championship. 6th grade travel won main state championship. And the girls' 5th grade travel won main state championship. And I think we're all going to New England's in Rhode Island.
Wow.
So
And that's at 8:45 on Saturday, if anyone wants to go. It's the last game.
So congratulations and good luck to Wyndham Eagles.
Go Eagles.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great.
Let's get some news.
It's really good news.
Yes.
Okay, any more public announcements, or are we ready to start the business? Okay, all right, so the provider agencies, do we have representatives from the provider agencies in-house?
Yes, Mrs. Chair, we have Cynthia Masterman with Southern Maine Area on Aging. She is present here and would like to have a few words.
Okay,
Yep.
Thank you for hearing me. I just thought it would be important to come in front of the group of folks that support our agency throughout the area. We are in Cumberland and York counties, and I believe my application that I submitted showed how many individuals here, and we have 108 residents in the town that we've assisted over the past fiscal year. So a value of $20,468. So I was just here to, I'm new to the organization. I love it. I came here because my father, who is 91, had to use these services, and now I work for them part-time. So I don't know what else I can say, or if you have any questions.
What total services do you provide? You said 108 families?
We have 108 individuals. They're not families, individuals. We provided, in my application, we have done information and resourcing where individuals contact us, 24 individuals, to find them other services. We're not the ones that have the funds, but we know to who to put them in contact with and provide them all that information. We had social workers that assisted 12 individuals here in your town, spent 39 hours supporting them. 144 used Medicare counseling, an amazing service. We have a full-time individual, and then there's people that are actually trained on Medicare, and that's something people go through every year, and they either come into our office and we assist them or do it over the phone, but it's very involved. It's usually an hour-and-a-half appointment with each individual regarding them not being partial on anything, but telling you what all your options are for Medicare when you become eligible. We've had 29 of your residents participated in, they're called community cafes, or As You Like It. They're actually a voucher that they get, that they go to local restaurants, and I don't know who they are in your area, but they're able to go in with their little coupon and get a nutritious meal. And the other thing would be, probably the biggest thing is, we have 21 residents here in your town that we've delivered 1,209 meals for Meals on Wheels. And that's for people that are disabled or just not able to go out into the public and do things. And that actually involves also a wellness check by the people that deliver. So they do, it's a contact and people look forward to it. And recently this year I got to participate we have a endowment with a very specific use that the woman left us a sizable sum of money with the request that every Meals on Wheels recipient in York and Cumberland County get a red rose on Valentine's Day. So I was one that helped put the card in every single one of those roses that were delivered, and it makes somebody's day. So it's just those little special things and those human touches. It's an amazing place. I still don't know everything that they do. We have an adult day center there for people with dementia and early onset Alzheimer's. So that's at our location in Biddeford. And I'm able to bring my therapy dog every Friday to visit them. So I wanted to bring her today, but I didn't. I withheld. She just came from the room, so let you know. But so that was. I did my best to tell you what we do.
It's for people that might be watching, not reading.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Nice, informative,
Okay.
so thank you.
Okay. Thank you so
Great.
much
Yeah,
for letting me
thank you.
speak with you. And I've left, if you want, I have some highlights of what we did in 2023, if you'd like me to leave them here. As well as some of the programs we offer. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Do we have any other agencies present to do a presentation?
Russ, yes, from Crescent Lake. I don't know if I've met you in person, but Russ Hutchinson with Crescent Lake is here.
Hello, Russ Hutchinson, North Raymond Road, and I'm also the president of the Crescent Lake Watershed Association. And in years past, the Select Board and the Finance Committee has supported us with a stipend to help us offset some of our costs for courtesy boat inspections and invasive aquatic species patrols. And this year we're asking again for some support from the town. And I've upped the request this year because we're also undertaking a watershed survey for Crescent Lake. And right now, we're estimating that it's going to cost us about $24,000 over the next couple of years. We've entered into a contract with FB Environmental, and they'll be helping us conduct the survey this year. And then after the survey, we have to, we'll build a plan to deal with the results of the survey, and then there's an implementation phase after that. So this year, I think we put in a request for $2,000 from the town, and as I said, that's bumped up about $1,500 from last year, and the reason is to offset the cost of that watershed survey and the plan that we're undertaking. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be certainly glad to entertain them at this point. Joe?
Russ, does your organization do the boat inspections, or is that part of the Raymond Waterways?
It's a shared effort. Raymond Waterways oversees it and administers it, but we cost share with them. So we, after all the state funds and other grants that they have are allocated to the program, we then split the cost with them 50-50. So Crescent Lake pays 50% of the inspectors at Crescent Lake, and then the other lakes do their share accordingly. Peter?
Peter Levitt, 2 Levitt Road. I had the opportunity to go to the annual meeting this summer. It was excellent. I just, one of the things, Russ, that I heard at that meeting from some members regarding the courtesy inspections was the fact that they're out there doing this on a volunteer basis.
They are a paid staff.
Oh, they are?
They are.
Okay.
There are some folks who fill in,
Yeah.
and there are some volunteers, but the bulk of them are paid staff, and that's all administered by our WPA.
Okay. One of the requests that several of the members had was that the courtesy boat inspectors would certainly appreciate some sort of small, modest structure so that they can get in out of the sun, or they can sit down, or when there's a thunderstorm, they don't have to run to their car or whatever. So I just didn't know if that was in the plans.
I had not heard that feedback.
So if the Budget Finance Committee and Select Board felt it would be in their purview to be generous enough, I don't think that they were asking for a castle. They were asking for something like maybe something you'd have waiting for a bus just to get out of the weather. So.
Any other questions? No? Well, again, thank you for your support in the past, and I hope we'll have your support this year, too. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is that all the representatives from the provider agencies?
That's it, right?
Yes.
Southern Maine and Agency over here.
Okay.
That was just here.
Wait a minute, what was the first one? It's very good.
sorry.
The Chamber of Commerce.
They were here last week.
Last night.
Quit, I'm going home. I'm already done for the night. Shut up.
Who's on the screen? Teresa,
Okay,
10 minutes.
so
I know.
moving on to Public Works.
Yeah, she was going.
So I'm just gonna go down through my cover letter. We didn't have a lot of changes in Public Works this year. We did 3 accounts in my operating budget that changed, was with an addition to the Public Works budget of $3,330. The first one's street striping. That price has been climbing every year. I hope we're where we need to be this year. We missed it by about $4,000 last year. The other one is uniforms. The contract with our uniform company went up. I checked the prices with 2 other uniform companies, were still less than they were, so I didn't put that back out to bid or anything. We just went, it is what it is. It's a sizable increase, I thought, but out of that also comes the clothing allowance for the employees. It's $350 per person. Some shop supplies in there and shop supplies and rags for the mechanic. Winter sand, I decreased that. We're still seeing a pretty good price on our winter sand. We're at $5 a yard. I don't dare go any more lower than that because winter and really can't predict what we're going to do there. We've been very fortunate this year. I think we've gone through about 2,200 yards, and hopefully that's all we're going to go through for the rest of the winter.
What's a typical winter like?
The average on that's about 4,000 yards.
Okay.
And we've been seeing a decline. We had a couple years ago, we went over the 4,000, but on a 5-year cycle, it's about 4,000 yards.
You said 4,000 yards?
Yep,
Did you say you went through 22,000?
2,200.
Oh, thank you. That's a big deal.
And that's, the last time I did the books were, the paperwork on the winter sand was 2 storms ago, so I'm about 2 storms behind. So that takes care of my operating budget. That's a 0.76% increase on that. Any questions I can?
Can you speak to the overage on the striping? So you're thinking that it's going to be matched to what you did this previous year?
Yeah, we stripe the same amount of striping every year. But the problem is we don't have any pricing until the end of May. And it's a petroleum product. And the vendors we went, with the COVID, we went through, couldn't get it. So that jacked the price up pretty good. It seemed to level back out, and then it came back up again last year. We do fog line, center line, stop bars, and all that's all out of that. All the handwork's out of that too, but that's just the increase in the product.
And I imagine, so because this is actual to 12/31/23, you don't do anything like that during the winter months?
No. We
So
won't.
that's
We won't stripe until after July 1st.
July 1st.
And we won't do the roads that we're going to pave until they're paved, and that'll be in the fall. And then they come back in the fall and do those roads and any touch-up that we need.
Right?
Frank's.
Got to turn on his mic.
You're muted, Frank.
No, he's not muted in Zoom. Frank, we can't hear you, but you're not muted in Zoom.
Turn your volume up.
Is your microphone on possibly?
No, that's what I was talking about.
Frank, do you have an on-off switch on your microphone?
I don't know.
I thought that was him saying it.
He's at his daughter's house, so he uses someone else's computer.
Yeah, he's at his daughter's, I think.
Frank, do you think you could text us?
He's gonna yell for her to come in. Oh, I'll work on that. I think is what, yeah.
Gotta get his sign language.
Nathan, do you continue to fill the sand and salt shed up? Are they mixed together as you do it?
Yes, yeah, we do a 10-to-1 mixture of 10 parts sand, 1 part salt.
And so when you fill it, you continue to fill it throughout the winter, so at the end of the winter you have a full shed, or do you try to get it down? How do you do it?
Well, typically about halfway through the winter, we'll get a break in weather that's been pretty normal, and we'll haul what we can to bring it back up. Yeah, I think we hauled 700 yards there a couple weeks ago. Come spring, if I have money left over, we pre-purchase the sand for the following year. That's what gives me that balance in that account. So we haven't purchased any winter sand for this fiscal year yet. We'll purchase it in the spring when we're done.
Oh, okay, that's why it's not spent.
Correct, that is correct. Yeah. Did I explain that all right? Yeah.
Touching on what Peter was saying yesterday when we had interviewed all the department heads, staffing was an issue. Staffing issue?
We're fully staffed now. We just hired the last person a month ago, 2 months ago? January. We went last winter, we were short 1 person, but we are fully staffed now. The age group is anywhere, I got a 19-year-old and all the way up to me, I'm almost 60.
What's your overtime looking like? Are you?
Oh, we're really good in the overtime. I got a couple of guys that take comp time, so that reduces that liability. The guys are all budgeted 250 hours a year for comp time. We've never really gotten, I shouldn't say never, we've run over a couple of times, but the boys take comp time. When we get to the end, we try to get the comp time, and they'll take time off in the spring so we can keep that number as close to what we're budgeted.
Oh, that's interesting. You let it build up 200 hours?
What's that?
You let it build up 200 hours, or you give them 200 hours?
No, they work, when they work up to 250 hours, and when we get to that point, that's usually in the spring, most of them will take the comp time to keep us from going over budget. We've gone over a couple of times, but it's kind of weighed out on other line items in the budget. I've got, because we've got 2 guys, I got 1 that normally doesn't get overtime. He's a per diem plow driver, so he doesn't normally hit that 40-hour mark where he would get into overtime. So that helps.
How many full-time do you have?
7 full-time.
Nathan, do you have? I know last year you had somebody that was working cutting the side mowers, and then they would do it for another town, and then you also had a gentleman that was working for us half the year and the other. What's the situation with those?
So what happened with that was the part-time employee, or it was a full-time employee that worked here in the winter and the town of Naples in the summer. He took a full-time position in Naples, so we lost him. I hired a kid from Glidden Paving. He works from November 1st to April 1st, and then he goes back to Glidden. I've got 1 guy that is a per diem employee. He only comes when it plows, and then the rest of the staff is full-time.
What about that mowing thing?
The mowing, we lost the mower guy. He went to Harrison last midsummer. His replacement will be going out in the mower this year. We're going to be going to mine it.
Wait, you lost the mower or the guy that runs it?
Guy that runs
okay.
it. Yeah, no, we found the mower. The mower's, that's
Wait, that's
good.
pretty, what was that?
The mower operator he went to another job. Just the way the scheduling was and whatnot, we weren't able to do anything more than what we did in our town. So this year, we're going to Minot, New Gloucester, and Naples.
Okay.
How does that work now? Is it just him that does this?
Correct.
And then it's just a seasonal job and he's gone?
No, he's one of our full-time employees. He goes away. The idea of that is they go away, we bill the time that he's gone, and it reduces my salary staff. I did that when we first went plowing because we were trying to do this without any increase in the operating budget. But you need the people, and to get the people, you need the full-time job. And we purchased the mower, and a couple other towns jumped on, and it worked out pretty good until he found a better job and went somewhere else. So we've trained the new kid, the new guy, and he's going to head out this year and do it again.
Break-even kind of thing where you charge from when they load up and leave and when they get back, or
Yep.
you're just trying to break even to use up some time?
We developed an hourly rate for the machine. The Gloucester and Naples supply the fuel. I haven't found out if Minot, I don't know what Minot's going to do. We bill them from the time he leaves here in the morning till he gets back at the end of the day. And we haul the machine over, obviously, and haul it back and charge him for that.
You only do it once though and park it?
Yeah, the machine stays over,
at what town
will
it
stay
is?
over in Minot and Naples and Gloucester, wherever it is.
How do you hear about the towns that need it? Do they call you? Do you reach
Well,
out?
word spread pretty quick. We bought the rental that they were renting, and the company that was renting it doesn't offer that service anymore, so kind of came with it.
Okay, cool. That's good.
Frank, I think we can hear you now.
I think I'm back in there.
Yes.
Nathan, I was asking about the $350 an employee gets for clothing. Does that include things like steel-toed boots?
No, there's a separate. Well, they're allowed $250 for safety shoes. So the $350 clothing allowance plus $250 for safety shoes.
Right. Okay. What do they usually get with the $350?
Most of them buy pants and shirts, and that's pretty much it. It doesn't really go that far, actually.
But it's not a uniform.
No. It's they own the clothing.
No, the uniform, though, is for the mechanic, right?
The uniform service is for the mechanic.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
When you're talking on that line item on equipment maintenance, is that the maintenance on your trucks?
Yes. Yeah.
So it was 85 and you dropped it down 10,000 for 24?
I did not.
What? No, it's
The 85,000 I've got
No,
equipment?
I left that. I didn't change that.
75.
Maintenance is 85,932.
75.
What?
How come that's down to 75?
It's 75,000. It was 75 year last.
Oh, we dropped it down the year before. That's right. I'm sorry. I was looking through. I apologize for
So you're
that.
looking at the 175, 61, 75?
Yeah.
Dropped it down, right?
We went, the 23, we went over on the maintenance budget last year.
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years, 23. Our budget's 75.
Okay.
Well, I guess what I'm asking is, should it be 85?
I think that we had a couple of catastrophic problems that year. And typically, if I've got a big repair, we lost a motor in one of the dump trucks. It was it scarily approached $40,000 time that was done. I pulled that out of CIP. We had a hydraulic pump, if I remember correctly, we had a hydraulic pump go in one of the trucks, and that was 12 grand. We also had the 2011 had a particular exhaust system problem, and that sucked up almost 15 grand on that. So that was a kind of out of line for the year. I think 75 should be all right. We've got all our pickup trucks, but 2 are under warranty still. So those are pretty much taken care of. I hope we've been through most of the big problems with the used trucks, but we'll see.
And does your mechanic put stickers on the truck?
Yes. Yep.
So he does the annual, and he
Yep.
can usually tell what's wearing anyway, so he
Yep.
stays on top of it.
Yep. I think we got a pretty good program. We've had pretty good luck. This year we've had one truck that has been just a plague of problems. Seems one of them comes out of the crowd and it's a problem.
Yeah. Oh, I do have one. I think the guys do a great job, and I know you're right on them. But the interesting thing is, I see every now and then someone with a truck that does the shoulders. And for a person who does a lot of maintenance, I've rebuilt a few driveways, and I know that, like the Cape Road where I live, we've got a bunch of it, and I know you were working on it when you came over and do 85. You don't have a line item for shoulders, and so we have all this asphalt going down. and the edges are starting to chip, is it worth putting a line item in just for gravel, shoulders, and maybe bringing a sub in to do it? I mean, if you're sending the guy out to mow, and you've got all these other projects, I know you did the Little League dugout, so you're doing all these other projects and building maintenance. Is there a sense to put a line in just to do shoulders? Because it's a goal to maintain, and
Typically, I was the grader operator, and towards the last probably 5 or 6 years, my time has been pulled away from that quite a bit. The new guy that we hired in January, he was one of Wyndham's equipment operators. So the plan is he's going to be out on the grader this summer.
Who was it in between?
In between,
You and him?
yeah, it was me and then him now.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So, Dennis, when you talk about that, are you talking about like building up like the road surface or like rocks?
well, do you see the asphalt starting
Yeah,
to break
I mean,
off? in the
like on
painted
Egypt
line?
Road, it just
Yeah,
goes-
like Egypt
Yes.
Road, that's
Yeah.
a good
That,
example.
yeah.
And a lot of us see it.
Yeah.
And we know that they're busy because you see them out working all the
Yeah.
time. And I just wanted to prioritize that. If we're actually looking to maintain the asphalt and it's breaking up,
Yeah.
that's more expensive than the gravel to keep it in place. And
Right.
we're seeing it in a lot of different places. So personally, I'd rather see an line item so that we know, even if Nathan's crew can't
Yep.
get to it, maybe we could sub it out.
Now,
I'm always afraid of falling in.
Oh my
No,
God!
there's a
Yes.
You think about all
Yeah.
the water and all the rain, and look what's going on right now. Every storm, you
It's the
always
weather.
see
Yeah.
everything starting
Yep.
to go.
And I think look across the country. I think this rain is here to stay. Even if it's just for a little period of 2 or 3 years, but it hasn't stopped. Patriots Day, if anyone remembers, we had roads and everything all broken all over the town because of the hills. So I'm just looking. Actually, the budget looks good to me. I just was wondering if it's something we can prioritize it.
I would like to try to go through this year and see how we do. I'd like to hold on to that.
All right.
We've got the grader, we've got the manpower now to do it. I think that's probably better utilization of our people. We got quite a bit of it done last year. I think we were on Raymond Cape Road.
Oh, you started there.
Yeah, when one of those tsunamis came through.
Yeah.
And you got to prioritize some of that. And we had some really, really bad stuff up on Raymond Hill and over on North Raymond Road.
Oh, and on
we had fallen around.
on 85. I was
85
by you
state.
guys. You had a whole crew down
Yeah.
there working.
Well, we had to do that. State told me it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks before they came out. And
I was going to ask Nathan, on 85 Egypt Road, those are both
those
state
are
roads.
both states.
Does the state reimburse you to get that work done?
We're struggling to get some reimbursement on them. I went over and borrowed 3 sections of culvert and said, good luck, see you later. They did supply most of the material on that. But, it's not they're in more trouble than we are on their maintenance program. They really are. But no.
Not according to their PR report.
Correct. That is correct. I guess probably I didn't make many friends last year when they posted on Facebook that all their striping was done and they're all proud about all they did. And well, how about 85 in Egypt Road?
Yeah.
Didn't even touch that.
Right.
So they have Egypt Road too?
Yeah, they took Egypt Road about 20 years ago, I think.
That long ago?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, I know it's been a while,
Well,
but
it's a connector road.
right, it's
Right.
connector road.
I mean, it's also, it's like the argument we've always had as far as Cape Road. That really should be a connector road. It's the only access to Fry Island.
I'm pretty close one year to having Fry Island contribute to our paving program on Cape Road. And they came out and met with me, and they came up with this wonderful plan. They were going to add $1 per car, which would, you take the money and you bank it, and every 4 years you put an overlay or put the money into Cape Road. And I was pretty proud. I thought we'd done a stroke of business, and come spring I went down to see him and say, how are we doing with that? Yeah, we added the $1 to the car. We're going to keep the money. And that was the end of it.
To what? Use the ferry or use the road?
No, the ferry. The ferry. They're going to add $1 per car to go out on the ferry. I don't remember what the rates were, but
Oh my God.
so that's something that probably could be readdressed. The staff has changed over there, and the world
toll
has
booth
changed
in.
over there.
Yeah.
Huh?
Put a toll booth in.
That's yeah, we've talked about that before. That's a hard road to work on in the summertime because of the ferry. The traffic going down through there, you know, Dennis. I mean, they go down through much 100 every half hour.
Sideways.
Yeah.
It's very obvious, though, that we're losing asphalt more and more every year. And
Well,
look at the construction down there.
Cape Road's going on 21 years, I believe. I'd have to look at my schedule. And they typically say paving's a 10-year life cycle, so we're twice the life that we should have got out of it. And you're going to see it in the next couple of years. It's going to deteriorate really bad. And we're hoping in the next 2 years to put another overlay on it.
And I might point out, the shoulder you did where that bicycle was killed by the farm,
The paving?
you did a great job. You dug out that bank that needed to happen when you took over the paving. That really, and you were probably in the worst of the year to do that with traffic too.
Yep.
But
Yep.
it made it a lot safer there.
Yeah, that's been a problem for a long time, and I'm glad it worked.
No, because I don't know anything about this, but how do you decide on, or how many roads do you pave? How do you decide on the paving each year?
Well, we've got a program that we're starting into. They came out and did an analysis of the road. So you take that information and you look at it, and then you have to, when you get into the paving, you got to look at how much money you got. How much are you going to get out of your contractor? Last year, we got pushed all the way to fall, and we had another 2 miles of road to do. They did Deep Cove, and that was all I could get out of them. We ran out of weather. So there's a lot of traffic volume weighs on it, what the road looks like, and that's about it.
But you don't have a regular schedule though for all the...
I do have a schedule, but it's a living document, I guess, because you're going to move around. If we can pave a couple of roads that are close together, I get a better rate. So Mountain Road, we're going to try to, with that's on this year's schedule. It was on last year's. That's the one they bumped. If we get too much further past Mountain Road, the first section of Mountain Road is going to be junk, and we're going to have to grind it. That's just binder from Spiller Hill to Tenney Hill. We did the second section 4 years ago, so we got to get an overlay on that.
Yeah, you're talking about Mountain Road and the end
Correct,
towards the
yeah.
lake. Yeah, that looked good when you get done too.
Yeah.
So how do you do the bidding on that?
I don't bid it. I wait for GP Cog to go out, and I'll call the contractor. We did 15 or 16 years with FR Carroll, waiting till they spend all their money and time putting it out to bid. I'd call Carroll up and say, sit down and talk, and we for 15 or 16 years had the lowest paving price in Cumberland County.
So you let them bid to everyone else?
Yep.
Then you ask them if they'll do it here?
Yep.
I
We'll sit down, and like I said, part of it's shrinking up the roads, shrinking up the distance they have to haul from road to road. That helps. Taking a lot of the bureaucratic crap out of it. GP Cog charges them a percentage for every pound of pavement they put down. You get rid of that, and you sit down and talk to the guy, and usually we do pretty good.
How many miles of road? 46, is that right?
46, yes.
Yeah, with the rain, like I said, it doesn't help because it pushes everything back.
That's what happened last year. Was they get penalized, and you can't. I'm not going to make an excuses for them because we were on the schedule the first of the year, but DOT penalizes them if they don't get this road, and this road done. They'll get penalized to a point that it cuts into their profits. So a couple of times they'd call up and say, hey, we got to go, can we push you up another month? And then the rain comes and they get pushed up and pushed up and pushed up. That's kind of what happened last year.
All right. I also know that when you do your ditching, that if you get a bad culvert, you either replace it or you blow it out. How much I don't see, like...
All my road work, paving, culvert replacement, any heavy maintenance comes out of CIP roads.
Comes out of that
Yeah.
225
And I buy
250.
We're just getting ready to work out the costs on a truckload of culverts, and I'll split it with Gray. We split it with Gray last year, and I'm hoping to do that again. So we'll buy a whole trailer load, gets us a much better rate, and we split the load. They'll either drop it here or we drop it over to Gray, and then we transport it to here. And we've got a fair amount down there. I got enough to get through this year if we can't pull it off. But
Do you even know how many culverts you have?
yeah, I've got it written down. There's got to be, geez, I'd be guessing, Dennis, without looking at the number. We have them inventoried.
Well, I know I was down there, I called you about, I was getting plugged up, and it started to undermine the road across from where my neighbor lives. I went up and dug it out, and I would help. I'm just wondering if there's some way we can flag it while it's still healthy before it starts to rust or whatever. I know you're replacing with
I think
plastic.
Plastic, yeah. That's all. We've been putting plastic pipe in for well over 20 years now.
Easier to clean too, probably when you.
Yeah, you get more volume through the same diameter culvert.
Unless you have a car roll over and catch fire.
When you have a car tip upside down, catch on fire, plastic burns, and that was a first for us. Down on Brown Road and tipped right upside down the ditch, and the gas went into the culvert and set it on fire, and plastic doesn't fare well with that. You go down there and you see where we patched the road geez, I think we went almost to the center line.
We get paid back for that one?
No, she didn't have any insurance.
Oh,
We tried.
So let me ask you this question with culverts, because I know what I'm looking at when I'm digging them out with my shovel. The last rainstorm we had when it was running across the street. And it's really, if you know how many there are, and there's a way to clean it, do you do an inspection, for example? Do you do an annual inspection? The guy that goes mowing, when he isn't mowing, is he inspecting culverts? How do you know when they're ready to be cleaned?
When we have a problem, we find out about it from somebody calling, and we'll flag that culvert. And then we'll go out and see what the problem is and clean it from there. A lot of the times, for the most part, they'll do pretty good until they don't. But that's pretty much it. We don't go on an annual inspection on them. When we pave a road, we do. We go down through and do an inventory and make sure all the culverts are new or replaced, or they get replaced. We did a couple on Mountain Road, hoping to pave, but.
Okay, that's it on that.
Okay.
Okay.
So the next one is solid waste, or I'm sorry, MSW. That's up 11.44%. The hauling for the MSW and the recycling, that's under a contract. That went up 2.9% for each item. The recycle tipping fees, that number right there is we're under a contract with Pine Tree Waste. The recycling tipping fees have a cap. They follow the market, but they can only reach, I think it's $130, $136 a ton right now for the coming year. They've been running around 80 to 100. We hit the maximum a couple times. When we started doing that, I had put that number at the max by the previous year's average tonnage times the maximum exposure, and I put it in the budget. That got knocked down for the last 2 years, and that's why those two items went over. Tipping fees were the same way. So we took the average of what we've been tipping every week, and we go to the tonnage, and away you go. And we typically do about 1,800 ton of MSW a year, and we do about 325 to 330 ton of recycling. So that's the increase in that item, that line item.
So when you look at the printout, the 24 budget is 398,100, right?
Yep.
We're on the right line?
Yep.
And as of, what is it, 6 months or 6 months?
149.
Yeah, 149, so it's less than half. You know, so that, you got quite a chunk left over there. Is that, and we've been through the summer months. So what I'm
through the summer, we'll be coming into half the summer when they come. All that number is, Dennis, is an average. And it's the maximum exposure that we could have on the tonnage. We could have, I shouldn't say the maximum exposure, because you could have more tonnage, and it's going to go up. But the per ton cost is going to be at maxed at 130 for the recycling.
I was just surprised that we weren't even halfway, which, you know, with a crummy rainy summer, maybe no one came up.
Well, and the funny thing is with the recycling, rain affects that quite a bit. It's heavy, it's wet.
If you look on the next page too, it does go up to 12, it brings us up to 130, 124. So it's up another 50,000. So it's 190, 483 instead of the
149.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Nathan, with all the new construction going on,
Yeah, but that's an extra month, right?
I mean,
yes,
you're going to have more tonnage.
Oh.
Well, the MSW doesn't get affected too much by that. We're going to see some increase. We've got the new development down on 85 that just came in. I think 3 people have moved into that. So yeah, it does go up a little bit, but for whatever reason, I wish I could explain it, but if you look over a 5-year average, it's just about like that. It stays right around 1,600 to 1,800 ton. Some years are up, some years are down. And the recycling has stayed about the same for 4 or 5 years now.
And there's still no market for recycled goods right now.
No, not right now. That's why our tipping fees are up where they're at.
Are we doing anything with the barrels? Are we making them mandatory or anything like that? Because
No.
those are large with a cover on them. I don't know if that's going to help our weight.
We didn't make anything mandatory on that. We purchased them We did a program, found out who was interested. People bought into it. We sold most of them. I think we've got
50 left?
50, yeah, it's around 50 left, I think. There's quite a few of that is people that have prepaid and never picked them up.
See, I never
We like
thought,
those people.
Yes.
I never even thought about. I just put it out there whether it's raining or not, and I'm like, well, whatever. I would keep it in my garage
I'll go
for
get
another
a
week if
bucket.
it's gonna rain. I mean,
Well-
not that it's gonna save the world, but
Well, yeah, you think
that's
that
a
would-
that's a large overage on
Yeah.
for recycling.
You know, it's part of it. The biggest part of it is there's no market for it right now.
Yeah.
And it is. You drive by these places and there's a pile of cardboard stacked up 3 feet high, and it's pouring rain out.
Yeah.
You know, that's.
Yeah, my wife gets Amazon stuff like
Yeah.
every 6 hours. They put 4 boxes for one thing, so.
He
I'm
knows she's gonna
trying-
watch us and get you. when
She
you
won't
go
watch
home.
this. Are you kidding me?
I'm gonna text her.
In our contract with Casella, we have an option to extend our contract. And I'm trying to get that done right now because there's a lot of chatter going around about automated recycling in MSW. That's another, anybody goes to Westbrook, you see the totes outside of the road. Those are all automated. Those are all owned by the municipality. Those things are $65 a piece, so do the math. It's a shit ton of money. I don't know, and this has been the back and forth with Casella, whether Raymond, you could do the whole town automated because of the camp roads and the people that live camp roads. In the village area, you could probably do it all right. Some of 85, you could probably do all right, but I don't know what that model looks like. We're waiting to hear back from them on that, but I'd really like to try to do a 2 or 3 year extension of the contract, so it just pushes us out a little further.
Karen, Peter would like to talk.
Okay, Peter, you are welcome to speak.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just going to take this away so it doesn't slide on.
So my wife Grace is the chair of the recycling committee, and so she's out of state on business, but she asked me to come just to talk a little bit about this. And so absolutely, we had a fairly decent response to the recommendation from the recycling committee as far as the bins, larger capacity. And also they are the type that will accommodate an automatic pickup, and they are covered. And absolutely, wet recyclables are just not a good idea. What the committee did find was that despite prior thought that, they burn most of it anyway, what we found was that wasn't true. The fact that a lot of it gets rejected because of contamination, talked with the provider and they said, well, actually Raymond's one of the better communities as far as contamination is concerned. And what else they found was that the committee found was that really one of the best things we could do overall to reduce the cost of our waste disposal in general would be to compost, because the wet food scraps that go into the trash basically are just adding weight and to our overall tipping fees. And so something as simple as composting would probably make one of the biggest differences in the cost of our waste disposal.
I have seen companies that will go around and pick it up, and that would be something, I don't know how many people would be interested in that, but your containers.
Yeah, just I was in
Well,
Portland.
they,
have a garbage to
garden
deals.
yeah, but I was on the
Thank you.
recycling committee too, and we had talked to those people, and it's a head count type thing, and the head count here was not high enough for them to commit to coming in and doing anything
How many years ago was that?
last year.
It was last year.
I didn't even know. Yeah, how many people know about it if
I
we
don't
get
know.
it out again?
I would suspect that. I didn't hear about it.
Yeah.
I know my wife would be.
Yeah, but I mean, they're looking, they were looking at big numbers
Yeah.
to be able to come in, because,
I think the key was education.
Yeah.
The community needs to be educated and buy into it, and then it can both be good for the environment and it can be a cost saving.
In their pockets.
It's not hard either. I didn't know. I'll just keep it the next week. I only put it out when I remember.
So Peter, does your wife's committee, can they do anything for education or anything, or kind of help out to, I know it's not quite on them, but it's part of their thing, which would be recycling, that would kind of help out. They could educate.
Yeah, I think that's been part of the recommendation, but quite honestly, in Grace was saying, they haven't met in probably 6
6 months, yeah, it's been a while.
So, their last big effort was to see what the feedback was in the town from selling these larger bins that are covered for the recycling. And overall, the response was, I guess I would say, was disappointing as far as the community and being engaged in it. But once again, it's a matter of education.
Yeah.
Would that be something that eventually along, I know we have elections coming up, that you could have a table to do education on? Because
We
you're
had a
gonna get-
table at the last one.
Right.
The last election where we had the composting and we also sold the barrels there.
Okay, I remember seeing
Or the
barrels.
sign up. And then we put a couple of things in the Roadrunner on composting, so the committee did some of that.
Okay.
So what even like the fiber thing is we get some kind of that form newsletter, what we can do with it, and just start blasting Facebook
I thought they
and
did an
sharing it
education
and all that
thing.
stuff, you know?
I think everybody will know after tonight because the town's watching.
Yeah, but.
No,
I
Robin's
mean-
not watching.
Except for Robin, everybody else.
But the recycling committee did an education piece
We
at
did.
the end of their meetings and sent stuff out.
We did.
I remember receiving it. So, Nathan, is there any savings if you were with the larger barrels now, if you went to bi-monthly recycling?
I think the best you could do is bi-weekly, and I would have to talk to Pine Tree about that. I don't know as though they would entertain into that too much, because we get into summer, and half of it's down Raymond Cape Road.
Yeah.
And that's the heaviest route. That's where we get the most trash from, is down that end. And most of that's, they're weekenders. They don't, I don't want to, it is a problem. It's something we can discuss in the next contract, but I don't know as though they'd go with that. We had spoken of that a couple of times in the last 2 contracts about looking at that, but the volume was the problem.
But the other thing too is when we got done doing the dump in Gray, all of a sudden you started finding stuff like off on the
Yeah,
side of the road,
that isn't
like
even
the
part.
couches or, yeah.
Well, actually, some of
That
that is
happens
part,
all
we've got a
summer
demo
anyway.
tipping line item there.
But the barrels also have to be lined up so they can actually hook into them. If
On
they're
the-
not, like you see them in Westbrook, they're all like little soldiers along 302.
Yes.
Raymond is not too many sidewalks to make them look like soldiers, so
And some
it'll
of
be a
the,
while.
some of the issues that I think with the automated system, and they didn't really address it. Our contamination rate, as Peter had said, is very, very, very low. Once you go to automated, it's going to go back up. They can't see in the bucket. The driver can't see in the bucket. Once it's up, it's gone. And then they go to the recycling center, and then they kick it back. So I don't know. I asked that a couple of times when they were discussing it, and they didn't really have a good answer, or didn't have any answer for it. There's a lot of work to be done before we get to that point.
Well, I think the other issue was Casella was, as far as committing to trucks that would handle that.
Correct. That is,
They're, you're looking almost 5 years down the road before they're going to have enough to be able to support that. So I mean, it's a chicken and egg thing. You can have those, but they don't have the equipment to pick it up anyway. So.
and the other problem
One of the things I understand is that what offsets that cost is.
Peter, Zoom can't hear you.
We should give you a microphone.
hang on, I'll give it up here, Peter.
Yeah.
But what I understand is that what offsets that cost a little bit, which may come sooner rather than later, is both the work with this compensation issues and the fact that they can't recruit people to actually do this job. So that's where the automation comes in, and the argument is that what the companies will offset the expense of the equipment by reducing those costs.
Nathan, I know we don't have a lot of tree work, but I know sometimes you go down the road and you see the X's where you're taking out dead trees. And of course, we have these windstorms that aren't stopping. I got trees down everywhere where I'm taking care of properties around the water. What line do you take that out of?
Out of CIP road work.
Oh, that's out of the road work.
We spend a little over $20,000 a year, some up more, some a little less, on tree removal and tree work.
You just see that as part of the road construction?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
when we go in to pave a road, I'll have it cut back as hard as I can cut it back. You gotta be careful of people's property. You gotta be careful of my favorite oak tree, but as far back as I can cut them, people let me cut them within the right of way. That's where we go.
And that's that fancy machine that I see going down the road that's just cutting
No,
away.
that's our maintenance mower. That's the mowing,
nice.
yeah.
That's the
it.
one we rent out to other towns.
That's actually saved us quite a bit of money, because it'll take anything from almost 3 inches right to the ground, and that's a lot of handwork to get that stuff out.
The tree cutting one, is that contracted, or how does that
Yes,
go?
that's contracted.
For the beginning of for the whole year?
No, it's by job.
By job, okay.
The guys will we can do quite a bit.
Yeah, they were down at our road doing it, but just off the town.
It's maintenance stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't
We don't have a
contracted.
bucket truck, and we looked at renting one, but by the time you rent the truck and you get the guy up in the bucket, he falls out of the bucket, there's another whole problem. So we opted out of that.
You don't hire guys that'll do that, though.
Huh?
You don't hire guys that'll fall out of the bucket.
Right. No, we got a very, very, very good crew, and they're very safe, and I think you talked about it in the workers' comp stuff. Very fortunate. Okay. So the next one is town buildings. This is for minor maintenance, heating, utilities. I'm going to take a swing and say we're going to hopefully see a reduction in that. Hope I'm not wrong.
Oh, town.
We had cemeteries before that.
Oh, Sue, you got to do cemeteries. That's right. I don't have cemeteries.
Oh, yes.
You want me to touch on it?
You can touch on it for the mowing.
The mowing is gone out to bid for all our cemeteries. We're doing the bid openings tomorrow. We have no idea where that's going to land. I've pulled some stuff out of that contract to try to save some money. We're going to do the snow blowing in-house. We're going to do obviously the roadside mowing. The bush hogging on the town landfills we're going to do in-house. So I'm hoping that reduces that bid enough to not see a huge increase in that line item for mowing.
You know, without getting into a whole lot, what happened with Monty?
He couldn't staff it. He asked if he could get out. He said, I don't want to continue on doing it. I've got other things for this guy to do, and that was it.
Last year he had called and asked if I knew of anybody that was looking for work and stuff like that, because they were really struggling to get staffing people again, and he says, Lonnie said he paid good. He says, but what happens is you just can't get the people.
Right.
Yeah.
Cemetery mowing is probably the worst. Oh, yeah. You can't even get a process on it till you do it. It looks all fun and games when you drive by until you're about halfway through the cemetery. It's a lot of weed whacking. It's a lot of crappy grass. It's a lot of push mowing. Just nobody wants to do it. It's manual labor that nobody wants to do anymore. Sue, that's it.
And then we've got repairs and maintenance and software. The software is a database that I'm still building that ultimately will have not just who has bought the plots, which is all I have record of in the town office right now, but I plan on having all of the conveyance forms scanned in, the pictures of the plots, and once I get pictures of the plots, we can do a mapping process for it, but it takes a long time to do that. And years like the last that I've had, I haven't had a lot of time to put into it, but I keep working away at that.
Are you going to GIS every cemetery? Plot?
I'm hoping to, but what I've been told is if you take a picture on the cell phone, it captures the GIS as long as you have location enabled in the camera. So that's what I'm hoping to use. I'm going to try and experiment with that on one of the smaller cemeteries, probably Mountain Road.
Checking the phones.
Or maybe Hasty, that's smaller.
And the repairs and monuments?
The repairs and monuments,
Maybe we could
I've worked my
read
way
out.
now through all of the cemeteries, $3,500 at a time, to go through the older sections and repair any stones that have been broken, stand up any stones that are leaning before they break, and have the stones cleaned.
Ah.
And I don't know if any of you have noticed the village in particular, but the difference is striking. And it looks like we care.
Do the families, like, if you have a broken headstone, do the families chip in anything, or is it solely on the town to fix?
If it's a newer stone, I would try and contact the family if I can find anyone. If it's the older marble stones, I've just been fixing them. And Nathan and I had a complaint, or a concern, I should say, from a neighbor over at the village cemetery. And we went out to look at that particular complaint and found that with all the wonderful rain that we had last fall, several stones had fallen and broken. So this year it'll be beginning back again pretty much at the beginning and fixing some of the stones we know that are broken. But now it's 10 years almost, or not 10 years, I'm sorry, it's 7 years since the beginning of this process. And the first cemetery, Raymond Hill, is needing a bit of a cleaning, but it shouldn't, the money should go farther now. It won't be as much of a cleaning to upkeep what we've done.
Yeah, some amazing older stones you can actually read now.
Yes.
From Raymond Hill.
And that's it. That's why I am interested in doing this, is to preserve the history of it. Some of the stones were illegible, and they're in the historic part of Raymond, so.
Yeah, 1700s.
Mm-hmm.
When do the bids close on the cemetery mowing one?
They're closed tomorrow.
Friday.
Tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Tomorrow at 2?
2.
Why, you interested?
No.
Oh.
I got enough.
Come on, Eric.
Oh, but that'll be
I have
good to
plenty
bring
of
up.
stuff to do.
So we'll
Eric
be able to
likes
get
to
that
mow.
information at the next meeting, too, then.
You gotta
Nobody
really
can
like
call
the
me when
photo
I'm on
of
a
the
walk.
cemeteries.
Yeah,
Weed whack.
we'll know by the next meeting.
If there's, you know,
All right.
Town buildings now.
So the next one's town buildings. It's stayed the same. It's I wish I had a better answer for you, but it's a guess. I'm hoping that it's going to stay the same. Any questions?
Heating town hall is only $3,000, huh? $3,500?
Heat pumps.
Okay. You have to have a backup, though.
Yeah, we got a furnace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a combination then, heat and oil.
Heating oil.
I mean heat pumps as well as oil is what I'm saying.
Correct. Yeah, the town office has heat pumps and oil heat, forced out water.
3,500 is pretty good for that old building. Of course, the electric bill, the heat pumps.
Yeah, it's different,
Well,
all right? It's utilities is gonna,
We didn't see a huge increase in the utilities. Saw some.
yeah.
But Kevin's closet downstairs, that absolutely snorkels some power out.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they could-
We have to grease the meter once a week. Falling off.
Yeah.
That's one of the air conditioners they use. I mean, Nathan, I was just telling her, one of the heat pumps goes just for cooling the computers, doesn't it?
Yes, we've got there's one downstairs in the basement that is just cooling. And it's got 2 window shaker air conditioners for backup. That does not like heat down there at all. And
Yeah, you
Kevin
don't
doesn't-
even heat that, do you?
No. There's actually a fan on a thermostat that'll exhaust the heat out of that room if heat's very bad for that.
Computers don't like heat.
So once Kevin gets stressed out, shut the air conditioners off.
It's crazy.
Okay. So the final one not the final one, but the next one's CIP. Part of this is mine, obviously. We kept that the same. Equipment's $225. The facilities maintenance is $85. Municipal facilities is $85. We're going to try for a third year in a row to do a build-out down to District 1, which is 47 Main Street. We're going to put an office in the first bay. We've had 3 failed attempts at this because of price increasing and other projects that came up in town that needed more attention than that. The plan is to do this build-out for, Joe's going to That's going to be his office for the time being. It's not a big build-out, but it's obviously...
Where is that one?
47 Main Street. but
No, what's the number on that one?
What is that under?
Facilities.
Municipal facilities, 930.
9:30 is
I've got a balance of 33 in
Third
that.
line down.
Okay,
Right,
thanks.
so that's the build-out.
Is that enough to cover it?
I hope so.
So it's really
Yeah.
just framing it?
But that's
Yeah.
just, that's in this, that's not,
Yeah, that's in here right now. It's going to be, when you go into that building, that first bay, we're going to rip the first bay out. It's interior framing. There's a little addition on the outside of the building that's falling off that we're going to replace.
but you had the same number for last year, you're saying you had it in there to do it, but couldn't do it?
Right.
I got you.
Yeah, we started on it, and I didn't budget enough money the first year. We had a mishap on putting money into it the second year, I think it was. And this last fall, we had to do the handicap ramp and the door, town office.
Bless you.
Yeah, that door wasn't cheap.
No, that was $15,000 to do that door, and the
Yeah.
handicap
times the
ramp
term.
was $7,000, $8,000. So that hurt. We had to do doors. These doors got replaced last year. They were kind of falling off the building. So we had a couple of things that popped up pretty quick that took more attention or more. We had to do those first.
How many offices you put in, just one?
Just one office. There's going to be a reception area when you come in, so kind of like a storefront. And there'll be an office. We're redoing the bathroom, and that's pretty much it. We're going to put heat pumps in that office area.
So crossing your fingers, third time's a charm, or do you want to try to up that? To
I'm
sure it goes
third
through?
time's a charm because we're going to do some of the stuff ourselves. We're going to do the outside building ourselves. We're going to do the foundation work ourselves in-house, and I'm hoping that we can get some help in framing up some stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, remember?
I will help.
Yeah.
When the buildings get done down at Tasseltop, will there be an office down there too?
No
office. Okay.
The garage that's going into Tasseltop is just a maintenance garage. It's going to have no heat, and it's going to be just for the maintenance. And the snack shack's the same way. It's going to be just for seasonal.
I'm sure we'll talk about that when they get to rec, but I thought while he's talking
Yeah.
about buildings and you
Roads is
get them both out of the way if it was.
Right. Roads is at paving's at 410,000, and that is it for my stuff. Well, you got the Public Works bond. We've spent 16,000 on this paper. I think we're at 22,000 right now. This is a little behind on designing and engineering for the proposed Public Works garage.
How much did you spend so far?
22,000. Let's hang on a second.
So the facilities is yours, the equipment is yours, 9005?
Yeah, facilities, equipment, and paving,
Okay.
and the Public Works bond.
Okay.
As of 2/20, it was 21,076.83, and I turned in a warrant for the warrant. This last warrant, I think it was 2,100.
Sebago Technics?
Yeah, it was $2,100.
It's about 22,000, right?
You said 22K, right? I'm sorry, Nathan, I had an operation in my left ear. I just asked, would you say 2,200 or 22,000?
22,000.
Yeah.
He said both. The 2,100 was the last bill that brought it
that's
to
right, yeah.
22,000.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You guys are both
You
right.
both got it, okay.
Well, I was writing too, which made it worse.
You have an equipment list in front of you that was passed out tonight. The $225,000 for equipment is what we replace and major repair for 37 pieces of equipment, from trucks to all the way down to the chipper, sweeper, everything that we own is right there.
Can all this equipment fit into this new garage you're proposing?
Some of this stuff goes home with people. The bus is going to stay down at his place. Most of the Public Works equipment, yes. I'm not too concerned about the grader or the excavator, stuff like that, but any of the wheeled equipment, yes. I don't really plan on putting everything in one building. I just don't feel comfortable about that. If something were ever to happen, I don't want to lose the whole fleet. So we keep stuff in the dry storage, the old sand salt building, and in the building, in the new, if we get the new building. The other thought too is the old District 2, that's going to go to storage. We're probably going to utilize one bay for one of the trucks up here that goes to the North Raymond Road.
But this will help cover all the
Correct,
fleets.
yes, yeah.
Just in different
Stuff like the chipper, that's lived outside its whole life. You'd be scared if you put it inside. The grader, patch wagon, that stays outside. The trailers would stay out, but like the loader, the mower would be undercover now, and all the dump trucks would be undercover.
Lasts longer.
Which one's the excavator, Nathan?
You know what, I was just looking there and I don't see the excavator, it's a cat. I don't think that's on the list.
Okay.
I'm surprised on this list. Oh
You know
my
what
gosh.
year it is?
That is a 2009 or 10.
What do you think the value on that is?
About 20,000.
Cat.
Hoping to, we're working on a replacement plan on that. We talked about it last year, and I think we're going to try to do it this year. The hydraulic pump in the tractor is starting to get pretty soft, and the pump's almost 20 grand. And I really don't think it's a good idea to put $20,000 into something that's worth 20 grand. It really doesn't make a lot of financial sense.
So currently, all your plow trucks, the smaller ones are in your bays, up 2 and 1, but everything else is in the old salt shed.
Correct, yeah.
Did you put that roof on there? That looks great.
When we, 16 rather, when we did the new building, we stripped the old building and put the roof on that, the new roof and overhead door.
Oh, so they both were done at the same time?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got 1, 2, 4 trucks up here. There's single axles up here, one of the 550s, the North Raymond Road trucks up here, and the pickup is up here.
Are they all undercover?
Yes, yeah, they're inside.
2015 roof, was that metal or shingle?
Metal. And the rest of it's stuffed in the building down there.
No, it's big. It's like, I looked it up, it's
It's
110 by 60, so that's quite a huge building for
Yeah. You know,
storage.
No, it's 100 by 60, the old building.
Wow.
The new one's 80 by 125.
How big is it?
Uh,
The new one?
100 by 60.
Yeah,
Oh, the new one,
No,
I'm
the new-
sorry, let's try. The new one is 80 by 120. And the old one is 100 by 60.
Well, that isn't that much bigger. I thought we were going to go huge on that that new one.
We ran, it was cost. Again, you put a number on it, a guess at that. You look at the other buildings, how much they've cost around us, towns. I did too. I was kind of
impressive.
I was kind of hoping to get a bigger building with more material, but it's way better than what we had, and it works a lot better than what we had.
You said 80 by 120, right?
Yes. The new
That's
one.
9,600 on,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Versus 60 by 100?
100, yeah.
Which is 6,000, so it's
Oh, yeah.
It's
1.5 times
Oh, yeah.
bigger.
And it's a lot higher. It's 25 or 30 feet higher than the old building.
It's impressive. I've asked everyone on the budget committee to go down and take a look at it because you can see what you can pack in there. In
Yeah.
fact, I think I asked you or asked one of you guys, how do you get the sand so tall?
Conveyor
Yeah.
owner, it's another state surplus. We wonder why it's
I always
still
wonder
running.
that.
Goes
Going
right
by
to the ceiling.
in gray, you see those big tall.
Yeah, when we're filling that, the conveyor, you got to be careful when you're moving the conveyor because it's right up between the lights. If you move it too far one way or the other, you have to hit a light. But
That's how you change the bulbs? Send someone up?
What do you
I've thought of that a couple of times.
What do you figure for yards of sand and salt when that thing's full?
When it's full, you should be around 5,000 yards. Because you'd have to cube it to get the square,
Right.
the actual cubic yards, and I think level to the concrete was 3,700 or 3,800 yards. So.
And no idea when these trucks are going to be rotated out because they're diesels and they just go, as long as you maintain them, they just keep going.
Well, we've got a couple that are gone. We've got a new one coming. It's been a nightmare getting it. We ordered a new truck in January last year, and in September Ford said, "Wicked sorry, we can't build that."
Oh.
So we hunted around and found 2024 that another town had ordered and put it in the queue, and we bought that. That's a Western Star. That was supposed to be here January 1st. Wicked sorry, we got no frame rails. That got pushed till the middle of this month. They said the truck's built, but it's missing parts. They're predicting we're going to see the truck sometime in July or August. and the body company won't order your body equipment until the truck's on the ground there. That's another 8 to 12 weeks to get the body equipment. It's a very slim chance we're going to plow with that truck next winter.
So it'll be the normal size plow truck that you use?
It's a single axle, 8-yard body on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's replacing the 06 green one that you see Eric driving all the time. After July 1st, I'm going to order another wheeler. That'll replace truck 9. And then we kind of get scattered out there a little bit, and we're going to just watch the equipment and see what we're doing.
What's truck 9?
Truck 9 would be...
Ford Explorer.
Ford Explorer.
No, that's Explorer. That's why I said he's not. Not.
Yeah, on the left, it's 8. It's actually...
Oh, we forgot
call it
number
truck
2.
9.
Look, he's
That's
counting.
That's one of the used
That's where the
trucks.
excavator is,
1,
because it's
3.
for cat.
Did you find the cat?
No, it's on number 2.
That's missing.
Cat's number 2.
Oh, yeah, it is
Yeah.
missing number 2. Sorry about that.
That was the truck you sold.
Oh, that's right.
deleted the
That,
line.
Oh. Can't even blame Nathan for
So
the counting.
the next wheeler to go is the 2009
International?
Yep.
Okay. And that one's scheduled to be replaced when?
That's 2 years out, at the very best.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's in the line,
It's
pipeline?
in the line. It could be 2-3 years. It's really, we're hoping that all this stuff comes back, and I don't really see a lot happening other than everybody panicking to buy trucks.
Is that what you put are you paying for this like they do the ambulance, where you're putting 225 in the reserve, and then when you finally have enough to buy it? How are you doing is what I'm
Yeah,
asking.
that's a reserve. That's why this is in the reserve account. That truck, the replacement value of that truck's about $300,000. So we're going to have carryover money from the truck we're buying this year. It'll carry over. I've got carryover money in that account. So there's actually around 300, I think. 85 in that account. Do you remember? Oh, I got it right here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, 80 is being carried over from FY23.
Yeah.
And you find
80K?
Yep.
Yep.
Funded at 225, and he spent 50, roughly.
And the new truck that's coming is just over 170 or 180,000. I didn't actually bring that number.
And that one, the one that's coming that you already had on order,
Correct.
is
That-
the
yep.
international? Is
Yeah,
that the
that's
one taking
that's
that?
replacing the 06.
Okay.
That's a Western Star, and I think cabin chassis was 120, and I think the equipment was 80.
Same company?
No,
Where you
no,
get
no,
the truck
no.
and then someone's putting a cab on it?
Yeah, no. We'll buy the cabin chassis. That's coming from O'Connor Motor Company, and then that'll go up to HP Fairfield. We've never been able to, the only companies we've been able to use so far is HP Fairfield. Everybody else has been
Which one is
crazy money. So
2000.
the I don't want to build it price is what they've been giving us.
Is there any way to make it easier to figure out, like, I know it isn't, I know you don't do the CIP like the fire department. I understand that. And you kind of, you've got it all written down here as when necessary. But when you carry over, if it's for this particular thing, can't that be noted in the budget that money's being carried over to pay for this? You're not using bond money, you're using that 225, right?
Correct. Yeah, we haven't, and that's something that we may have to do, is we may have to bond a couple of, or finance a couple of some of this stuff. Because the 225 is based on what we were paying for stuff 5 years ago. Pickup truck, Ford used to give us around a 23 or 4% concession off the truck, and now it's $200, $300. That cabin chassis used to be 3 or 4 years ago around 80,000. It's 124. So I didn't move that line item up enough to cover the increased cost of the trucks. So that's why we put when necessary. So we may take the 2011 F350. That truck's got 150 or 60,000 miles on it. So instead of replacing that next year, because we spent too much money on that truck, we may put some money into it and keep it another couple of years. And it's the same thing with the plow trucks. If we get to, I'm hoping that July 1st money will be okay. The 2015 International, that'll push that truck into a spare position. That's on line 21. That truck may hang around for another 10 or 15 years. So I haven't, and the other issue we've had, or another issue, but the other thing we've done with that line item is we've added a code vehicle. We bought the animal control car. That all comes out of my bucket of money.
Yeah, but I'm asking for basically a plan, a CPI
Correct.
plan, where you know what you just told us, and it goes on to that CIP plan, and then when we're looking at a budget, we'll see these trucks in the same fashion. And I know you've got a ton of trucks here. I mean, it just would be easier. You just was explaining about this international coming in at 100 and plus money. 190,000, and you got a 225, so it's basically could be paid for.
It is
and you'd
good,
still
yeah.
carry over.
Correct, yes. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, but I thought that was just,
No,
Yeah, yeah.
I know what you're saying. In other words, you're not going to spend the money unless it's necessary to spend it.
correct.
But you roll it over, and then, for example, if we, and I know you can't use this, but if it's spare money, I'm just trying to think of how to know where it's going. in
It's all,
advance.
I can assure you, and I can do that for you, Dennis, if you want, but I can assure you anything in the equipment line item is going into equipment.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
And we also, as I said in the beginning, that if we have a catastrophic breakdown, motor, I don't have enough money in my maintenance account to cover that. So we would take the money out of the CIP to put a motor in it. I also use some of this money, a couple of these trucks are going to go out and get painted this year. The loader's going to get painted. So some of that money gets used for that, but I don't have a price on that yet. Nobody's come down to do the estimate yet. We've asked and called, and so it's just a timing thing.
So you intermingle, you mix in maintenance,
Heavy
is there a number at maintenance? Is it 50,000, 20,000
it's
for
a
capital? Because it's capital improvement.
It's capital improvement, so it's an operation. The rubber tired backhoe, we put tires on the backhoe. It was $66 grand, I think, for the tires for the backhoe. That, to me, in my opinion, is a capital improvement to that piece of equipment. Same as painting. So we send a truck out, it's anywhere from $7,000 to $10,000 to paint a dump truck. That, to me, would be capital improvement. You're improving the vehicle. We've done it that way for 20-plus years.
I was surprised.
Yeah, and it worked. It's worked very well. The only fetch I've had is the increased cost of everything. I have not adjusted for that. And the reason I didn't do that is I'm trying to make it work with what we have.
Nathan, what do you consider a useful life of a truck?
When it stops running.
No, but I mean,
I
is it 10 years or?
Well, I would say the 10 to 15 years. You want to start looking at it at the 10-year mark. You're starting to look at stuff that's going to be expensive.
So, in municipal government accounting, you don't depreciate anything. You have an asset list or depreciate things. How does that work?
Yes, we do. We do have a depreciation schedule for, like, when we buy new pieces of equipment. I have them add it. When we sell pieces of equipment or trade our equipment, we delete that off the depreciation schedule. I don't know off the top of my, I think it's 20 to 30 years, like for building improvements.
Right, buildings are 20 to 30
I want
Yeah.
to say trucks are
10
typically,
years.
most towns are
Maybe-
10 to 12.
Yeah.
So, one of the problems with trying to bond trucks is you depreciate them faster than the bond.
Right.
So it costs you a whole lot of money to buy them that way. That's why you set aside cash, pay cash for equipment.
Typically, the stuff that we have financed, we financed the loader, and I think we financed one of the 550s. It was a 2-year financing. It was a lease purchase, so two payments. And that's what I'd be looking at. I may have misspoke when I said bonded, but that's all I would do that with equipment. It would be 2 to 3 years maximum, because of the same thing, like you said, you don't want to be paying for that when it's 15 years old. Right. You'd be very unhappy.
So Nathan, would it be fair to say, looking at this list here, like in the fire department's case, they know what they have, and it's just the fire department as far as their trucks and that type of thing. But looking down through your list,
Well, he has some fire truck ones in this. I mean, fire.
Derek, shut up. No, but look, the assistant CO, you got Parks and Rec, you've got the fire department inspector, you've got your own crew and stuff like that. So what's happening is you can't just budget for your trucks that you're doing things for. You still got the other departments that all of a sudden something happens that you've got that money. You're kind of the catch-all department, I guess I want to say.
We have been, and part of that's been by design, because we maintain them. Few years back, the fire chief and I talked, and I don't want to get involved in fire trucks.
No, no, I'm not
That's a
saying
completely
that.
different
Yeah,
animal.
no, no.
But do you do interdepartment
Yes, we do.
transfers?
He's got 2 of my pickups that we had here in his department. And the plan on that, and the plan gets foiled from adding more equipment because it throws the schedule off. But when we started it in 2014. We gave him the 2014 pickup. After I had it for 2, Scott had it for 2, went to him for the remainder of the 7-year life. We sold that truck last fall. I think we made money on that, I think, in the end. I think we made $800 or $900 on the truck. Got 7 years out of it and 80,000 miles. At that point, my 2018 went to the fire department, and I bought that little half-ton that everybody sees me bombing around in. So that added a vehicle. So next year, Scott's truck, the 20, should go to the fire department, and we should take the 2018, trade that in for something new for Scott. It keeps the truck at 7 years on the pickups. It keeps them relatively valuable. We try to keep them in the best condition we can, and they're easier to sell that way, and you make a little bit more money on them, whether you trade it or sell it outright. So I think that plan still works, but you can't keep them that long. We've got a 16 down there, and Joe's truck's a 2016 that should have gone a couple years ago. And the problem I run into with the fire department, going into the fire department, is the upfitting cost. It's anywhere from $4,000 to $5,000 to upfit them to what they want on the truck.
But that comes out of your budget?
No, that comes out of his. Yeah.
Well, let me ask this then, just to get a sense of what's going on. If you went back 5 years and laid out what you bought out of this, so we could see what the CIP has been used for capital. Now, painting may be maintenance, or tires may be maintenance in one person's view. I don't really care about that. At least we know what it was going for. But if it tends to be maintenance, I'd rather see that go over to your budget as maintenance, and the CIP be for what it is. And that means listing out your trucks so that the capital is, so we know ahead of time, we have a plan.
My only problem in doing that, Dennis, is if we don't have any catastrophic meltdowns or breakdowns, and that money is in my operating budget, that goes away. You never see it again.
So this is
in the
slush
CIP,
fund.
this carries over. Yeah, I hate to call it a slush fund. I really don't want to stand up here and say that, but it is. It's that little extra play to keep us from going over budget on our operating budget. Some years you win, most years I win, some years you don't. You know.
So Cerise, how do you make that work in the regular CIP plan for the bonding when you have this kind of?
Well, it all depends on the reserve funding primarily and carrying those monies over. And like he does have on occasion an emergency repair, and that depletes it. Like right now, we're waiting on money to come back from the state on our generator grant.
Oh yeah,
that's 20,000 and it's pending. So once that money comes back in, we'll recredit that CIP account. So the bonding company will look at our reserve accounts and where they're at in our funding, and we have to kind of plan that out. Like, are we going to use our operating budget, reserve accounts, or are we going to bond it? 3 different types of financing options to do this 5-year CIP plan.
So they don't ensure that it's capital. It can be painting or tires or whatever you guys decide in the budget. They don't do a tight review of the.
They don't do a tight review. No. Just a dollar amount.
The bonding companies mostly look at what your reserves are.
Right.
There's only 10 communities in the entire state of Maine that have a AAA bond.
I remember someone saying that.
Maine is Raymond's one of them. And you compare yourself to Falmouth, Kennebunkport, every rich community out there, and we're still AAA rated. That's why when you look at bond rates, we're at 3% or less.
I've heard that a couple times over the years watching the select board stuff in the budget. I mean, I know the town, and I'm not looking to change it. I'm just looking for some patterns. We were looking at 5 years back to 5 years forward, just to look at what's going on, trying to look at everything, school, the recreation.
If you go 5 years back on the public works, you'll get ahead of the year we started plowing. There was money influxed into that account for plowing to get us set up for plowing. So.
What year did we take the $470,000 out for the dump trucks? Wasn't that
17?
17?
Yeah.
That's when we took over the plowing.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and it came out of
From
surplus.
P&K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could have run the
it's hard
trucks
to
like
believe.
P and K did for 35 years.
Yeah, that doesn't work. That's where
With no edge on the
Right.
plow, yeah.
barely a plow left.
Wow, 17.
Time flies.
That's it with that.
So we all set?
Yeah,
I can do that 5 years back, Dennis. It'll take me a little bit of time to get it, but
I just was looking at a pattern. We're trying to find if there's
Well,
like they do an ambulance, 75,000 to go 8 years or whatever it happens to be, because the ambulance are now 450,000. So the chief was talking about bumping it up 10, because you're gonna need 85 or 90 or whatever it is to get the final number. So
part of that is his world is just that ambulance.
yeah, oh, in the trucks,
And
yep.
mine is 36 pieces of equipment
I see.
that if we added him, we added codes, we added inspectors, those little things all add up. $40,000 motor, that hits it hard. We get a good deal on one truck, we don't on another. A lot of used equipment's purchased through that. So it would be kind of just like this. So I don't know if the pattern that you're gonna see is what you want, but I can do it.
Well, even next year, if you did the budget and it comes out, and you've got 225 and list what you spent it on, that would be a lot easier than just saying, I spent it on what we needed.
Right.
I'm gonna paint the truck.
Yeah, no, we can
No,
do that. That's fine.
And it's just, there's no details.
Okay. We can do that. Ready for the next one?
Yeah.
The next one is the proposed Public Works repair facility, garage. We are, I want to say 3/4 of the way through the process. I may be off on that. The next step is we're waiting for the foundation design. We did the test holes a week ago, and we're waiting for the design on that. And then that all gets clumped together and gets sent out to design build. Timeline on that, we're looking at around the end of June before we get that. End of June would be the actual, we'll have numbers at that point, solid numbers. And we award the bid to whoever's the lowest bid or whatever bid fits that. I don't know if the lowest bid's what I even want to do, but whoever fit that design. And we're looking at September, October before they would start. I asked
Of this year.
Yes, yeah. And he said about a year to do it.
How long does it take you to go to the bond market?
2.5, 3 months to get it ready
Yeah.
to close from
So
application
you would
to,
start right away if it passes?
once it passes, we start the ball rolling. Yeah.
I had asked Sharice for bond numbers for the budget, and we went with 6.2 million to give me a little bit of room. My target is 5.8. We're right at that right now. We've made some changes to bring it to that point. I guess questions?
Well, I was looking at some of what Sebago had written down about things that are needed and not needed, and I was really surprised if we wanted a $6.5 million or even $5.5 million building that they said it wasn't necessary to have sprinkler systems and pumps.
That's from the state of Maine, state fire marshal. We're under the square footage for that. That added 1.3 million, I think it was.
That's crazy.
Well, there's no water down there. That's the biggest problem. There's no city water line down there.
But you do have 2-hour firewalls.
Correct, yeah. There's
In each bay.
In each bay, so.
We compartmentalize the
That's how you're
building.
mitigating it.
We compartmentalize the building. The biggest one is just under 5,000 square feet. It's 4,900, I think. And then it's 3,900, and then the office goes back to, I think, just under 4,000 is what the numbers were.
When I total up, though, with their Sebago's estimate for the water, the pump, the sprinkler system, everything is 250, and that's what you said the very first time we talked about it, and then it went to 5, and now you're saying it's 1.3?
The water tank was $800,000. They asked for a 125,000-gallon water tank, and that's what kind of wrote it all up.
120,000 it's got written here?
Which one are you looking at as the
The one that we got handed out from the town?
Underwater, 17,000 gallon, and then all the way to the right says 120,000 gallons.
Yeah,
And right
it's
before it's
102.
102,800.
Yeah, and the figures they've been all over the place. They've been, they started out 250, and then I'm hearing 1.2, and then even the other day, someone said 1.5.
Well,
1.5 million for a sprinkler system?
Well,
That's crazy.
These are engineered numbers. These are the numbers the engineer gave me. And in talking to the fire department, they asked for a 125,000 gallon water tank. That was $800,000. I don't know why the number shows only, he was supposed to pull that all out for this.
Well, it's obvious that's the figures he had. That's why it's on here.
Well, we pulled it out. That's what I'm saying. I don't.
Well, I guess I'm saying, why pull it out if it's 250 as opposed to 1.5 million or 1.3?
250 was the price they gave us if we were on city water. And we needed 125. They said we needed to flow 1,000 gallons a minute for 2 hours into that building.
My point is, if a tank is one thing, and the sprinkler system here that we're talking about is sprinkler system and a holding tank, even if it had to go up a little bit, to go from 250 to 1.2 is just an astronomical, out of proportion price.
I think something's wrong with these numbers, Dennis, because that 1.3 million was what we'd had, and I don't know why that's in there, because we pulled it out, and the only thing we had in the water line was the domestic water line.
Well, speaking for myself, and I know we talked on the board here one-on-one, and just to get a figure, if a $6 million building can be protected at 500 even, this 250 may be a little low, but I've got people that have put a sprinkler system in Portland in four and a half stories, and it's in the hundreds of thousands of dollars.
You're
220.
You're on city water.
I know it's on city water, but add the tank in.
The tank is $800,000.
That's not what it says.
That's what the quote came back for the tank was $850,000. But I think
This on the right though says it's weird because it says allowance. How much 33, I can't, it's like faded, but 30,000 gallons to 120 gallons.
There was a whole bunch of stuff going around about this because we did some research on it, a lot of research on it, and they were talking about a 30,000 gallon tank to put in the ground at one point. We got away from that, and we nicked the whole sprinkler system out of the building. So I don't know, I apologize, I don't know why the numbers don't, I took them right off the printer from Owens, and I didn't look any further.
Well, the tank he's got in there is only the $17,000.
No, that's a
tank,
that's a pump
not
house.
the 120,000. He's got a 17,000 gallon tank.
No, that's a pump. 17,000 gallon plus pump house.
If the state fire marshal says you don't need a sprinkler system, why are we talking about it?
Right.
Well, because people were saying ridiculous fees like $1 million, and I know the business, so we're going to get some estimates.
Oh, wait, hold on.
The budget committee's going to get an estimate, so it's in writing.
I have it in writing, Dennis.
We're looking at it.
Well, I just said that this is wrong.
The
There's
budget
something wrong with
committee is getting an estimate.
Yeah, I've
Well,
got friends that do
what-
sprinklers.
Well, we have an engineering company that's doing the work.
Hey, I figured it
But
out.
you're gonna go out and get an estimate on a
Well,
sprinkler
we
system?
have to, because the price has gone from 250 to 1.3 million in 1 year.
And the state fire marshal says you don't need it.
It's also a work in progress.
this right.
Right.
Talking to Nathan now, we can walk through
Right.
this. But for the budget finance to go out and get their own sprinkler estimate, I've never heard of that before.
Well, we're new to this, so we're
Well,
trying to figure out, let me tell you what happened last year, Teresa. We voted for, we had a $2.5 million estimate on the building. The chairman of the board threw in another million, it was 3.5 for this building we're talking about. Okay? We said it couldn't be done for that. I've been in construction 50 years.
Right.
It went on the warrant, and then it came off the warrant, and the 150,000 was put on. We're a little doubtful about figures at this point. So we want to have other people involved. And right now, it's an engineer who, there's not even much money spent on him.
It's not a
Right?
bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. So I'm just saying, these are
are
quick estimates.
a little bit more
I-
quick estimates, Dennis. I can get the paperwork that we had. I don't think.
I
we
don't like
did.
the quick
detail.
estimates.
Well, I can't get the detail until we do the building design. We're not to that point.
I know,
So
we're
that
talking about a bond before we even know what it's going to cost. We haven't done an RFP, we haven't got a quote from a contractor.
We're working on the RFP, and we're working on it goes to design build next. That's it. We can't do anything more than the engineered plans that the engineered estimate that we have right now until we go to design build. The price that we had for 1.3 million came from Eastern Fire Service, I believe it was.
Eastern Fire.
Eastern
probably.
Fire?
They're out of Auburn.
Yeah.
This 102 number is the 17,000 gallons of quantity times the $6 per unit. So they're estimating that it's a $6 a gallon charge for what you need. So the allowance is from 30,000 to 120. They estimated this for a 17,000 gallon unit. That's what that is. If you multiply the 6 by the 17,000, you get exactly that 102. So that's what they're coming up with, $6 per gallon.
Yeah, that's for 17,000 gallons.
17,000 gallon unit, everything, tank, pump. That unit right there is a $6. So if you want to go whatever they're saying you need in this allowance.
That's where they came up with the number.
If they went to what you said was the other one, they wanted how many gallons?
125,000 gallons.
And I mean, I guess maybe that's where they multiplied it by 6. So that's going to be $720,000 plus the 150 for the sprinkler system and the pump.
And we're
Gets
estimating
you
around
at-
100,000 to put it in the ground.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't need that size. I watched the show when you guys talked about the sprinkler system, and I think they were doing 4-hour divide, so you wouldn't need a tank that big, right?
2-hour divide. No, they still, at that, the 2-hour divide's been in this since the start, and that was the estimate that they gave me. So the other problem with going with a sprinkler system was the 3-phase power. I wanted to get away from the 3-phase power for the ongoing expense of that. That's going to be with the building for the rest of its life. Plus the maintenance for the sprinkler systems that they estimated around $1,200 a year for 1,200 times 4 visits, quarterly visits.
And then, so I know that last year, I believe we talked about the need to have an area to wash the vehicles and
Yep.
then to maintain the vehicles.
Yep.
So from those 2 potential bays up to 8, is it just so that it can all be in one, or because?
You've got the wash bay, the 4 storage bays. It's the 4 bays, if you look at the building from the wash bay and work to the office, you have the wash bay, 4 trucks, and then the maintenance bays, and then the office.
So that we wouldn't really need to utilize any of the other buildings, is that?
Well, the village building's going to go to him,
Okay.
and this one up here is going to be for storage, because we got to keep this one because the fire department's attached to it. We've got other, there's boats that we would store up here, and I would like to keep 2 trucks up here, just for convenience.
What kind of trucks?
So we're going to leave,
The plow trucks.
what you're saying is we're going to leave the 7 bays. I know you're talking about converting over District 1, but you have 7 bays now that you're using, and we already have the expenses all figured into the budget. And we're going to keep those buildings, and we're going to add this building.
You'll have a reduction in cost on all of it. Well, his won't. He's going to utilize that building down the village until whatever happens to the town, to the school. This building, fire department lives in half of it for their trucks. So you bring you're going to probably cut your heating costs down to a quarter, because you're not in and out of the building in the wintertime, so the doors aren't going to be open. And your light bill is going to be just keep lights on, and that's it. Right now, we're running the compressor, we're running tools and all that. I don't know what you would want to do with that building. I mean, the fire department's in half of it, and you can't just get rid of it. I mean, I don't think Bruce would like that.
Well, there's block walls between each bay, which is ideal for fire retention, for controlling the fire, and you've got 7.5 acres there of land. Even if you just added a wash bay and a mechanics bay with big, huge, wide doors, which is the issue.
Did you go in there when one of the big trucks is backed in there?
Well, I talked to the maintenance guy, and he said his biggest thing too would be to have larger doors,
Yep.
which would be huge.
Yep.
Which, if you have a flat surface and you have space, could legitimately be added on there if needed to have that.
Problem with that.
Did you guys go and do a tour?
Yeah.
Did you go with Nathan?
No.
So he
it's
could
public
answer any
roads.
questions?
I went and I met the mechanic.
Yeah,
No,
we
I
actually were
didn't.
driving around just to look at the layout and what the difference of distance of driving and that sort of thing, and there were people in 2 buildings, so we went in and took a look. I've been in there all
Well, no, I know, but I guess I would ask the Public Works Director instead of what the thing is. But one of the other things I want to say is, we're adding, poor Joe Crocker has been going from the town office to down at Tasseltop to in the same spot as Nathan. He has not really had one spot to call his own, and he kind of has to he's got a moving luggage thing, I guess, that he takes all of his stuff and goes. But so having that building down there on Main Street is going to be perfect for how big rec is growing. So he's going to
We
need
just
some space.
voted on $1 million bond for rec. We
Yeah.
are very supportive of them.
Yeah,
What
no,
we're
I'm
saying is we don't want to build a $6 million building because he wants an office or Nathan doesn't want to use these bays. There are 7 bays right now, and we're going to build a $6 million building with 8 bays.
So-
And we're not even going to sprinkle it because we want to save $1 million if it's $1 million. And it's just a concern about us.
Well, and I get that. So, but on the other hand, is this has been talked about for years. Wait. It is, and I'm not arguing. It's just it's been talked about for years. So it's kind of like we're working through that process to get it, and to put all this equipment that he's got in there to have that one place instead of saying, oh wait a minute, we got to take it up here because we have to wash it here, or we got to go back down here to do something else. At least it'd be nice to have it all like in one spot. And I'm glad that you have concerns, and I'm glad that you're bringing your expertise to the table. You know, so I'm not saying anything negative. I'm just saying that in the town, I just feel with it growing the way it is that it's time.
I think we want to give Nathan what he needs as opposed to what he wants. There's a difference.
What he
Big
needs
difference.
is to protect millions of dollars worth of
They're
equipment.
undercover every day.
He has
Undercover.
a mechanic who sometimes has to work outside when it's 10 below zero.
Joe, it's
that
all
makes
undercover.
no sense.
So, I mean, if I follow your logic, we shut down the fire department because we don't need to worry about protecting
Why did we
trucks.
build the
The
public
trucks are
safety
undercover
building?
right now,
To
though,
protect
most of them are.
equipment.
Oh, we
This
don't need
is
the rest
no
of the stuff in
different.
there, so we
But there's
shut that
also a
down.
safety
trucks are
issue with
undercover.
mechanic,
I mean,
a big one.
Absolutely, and that's why I'm
And
glad
to say it's a want instead of a need,
Yeah.
yeah, that's borderline.
He didn't, when we have a problem with one of the trucks under the body, he has to work on it outside because the body won't go up all the way high enough to get the safety supports underneath the body. And that is more and more on this stuff because it's plow trucks.
I agree.
When you've got a fully dressed truck in there, you have to climb over the plow to get to next bay, next bay, next
That's
bay.
why we were just saying that, we
We don't-
mentioned having a bigger one, but would it be something, if it was feasible, of only needing to have 2 bays versus full 8, to make 2 larger bays somewhere else to address
Well,
the
I
issues?
guess that would be the question.
That
Where
was
would,
just one of those things.
The option.
But if you're
when
going to
you
build
look
it,
at the
build it right
cost-
the first time and not.
You're not saving anything.
I have a question.
Who's okay. Sorry, Karen.
Okay.
Karen?
The question is, was a needs assessment done for the town on what the town actually needs for a public works garage?
When talking to the engineers about this, every one of them in Sebago Tech said, why are you building such a small building? They suggested this should be 2 or 3 more bays bigger for future expansion. We've cut that down to what we've got right now. I found with the other towns that I've talked to, the needs assessment group that did the needs assessment and the committee that was put together to build the building or design the building added anywhere from 15 to 20% more to the cost of the building. I'm trying to do this on the cheap.
I mean,
Okay.
this has been
So
talked
do
about
we have
for
a copy
years.
of the needs assessment?
No, we didn't do a copy on it. We sat down and talked about it.
Okay.
To get a professional
And where
needs
is the description from Sebago Technic on what the description of the building is going to be?
You should have a
And
copy of
the,
it.
I was sent an email. Do you know when that email was?
I can look.
We've got a floor plan
Yeah.
that was sent
we have
out.
a drawing that shows a drawing of the building. Have the other specifications been developed on what the needs are for the different systems?
No.
Have those drawings been done?
No, they have not. We have to go out to design build before we'll have those. The only other option we have is to spend about $150,000 to have Sebago Tech design the building and then send that out to bid. And I chose to go design build, save $150,000. So we're
Okay. I have an idea, and I'm thinking about, what about having a building committee to evaluate and work on this building process? Have a committee of 5 people on it, one person with a construction background, one with a contracts background, one with a finance background, a budget committee person, and the codes enforcement officer. 5 people to work together and help Nathan with this process.
I think we're well beyond having to form a committee. This has been talked about for 3 to 4 years now.
We don't have anything in
We are
writing, though.
scattered all over town. We need to centralize this. We need to have a place where a mechanic can work safely without having to work outdoors when it's 10 below zero. I don't understand this whole opposition. When you build that public safety building, you did it to put fire equipment under cover. This is no different.
Sure it is. We did a need assessments on a committee of citizens, and we were 3 years into development, and we cut a bay, and we saved about $1 million because of that committee.
And that
If we
$1
could
million
save-
went to replace the roof and all the
Gentlemen,
leaks that
please.
you had in that public safety building.
That's right. That's exactly right. The drawings we did, they took off. You're
Right.
absolutely right.
So Nathan just got done saying that he has cut it down from where his want would be, and it wasn't even his want. Nathan is known as the duct tape guy in this town when it comes to his budget. It really is. He will keep things and fix things and figure it out. So as far as going overboard on something that the town needs,
Well, let's do it this way. We're the budget committee, we're asking a question. Did you look at the option of adding 2 bays on there, or did you just say, let's go to the sand pit?
No,
Did you look at that?
I looked at the option of adding 2 bays to District 2. Two problems
What was
is
that
we don't
cost?
have the setbacks. The only place we could add the 2 bays would be on the Egypt Road end.
Yeah.
We don't have the setbacks to do that.
And what was the setbacks?
I don't remember, Dennis. It was 2 years ago, 3 years ago when we did it. Code enforcement and I looked at it. We talked about it. The other problem is the sand salt building's down there.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the trucks should be.
Where they're all stored now?
Correct.
Yeah.
In cold storage.
Yeah.
and they're all together.
So when something breaks down there, and this has happened twice now, it's a $350 tow job from down there to up here. That's one of the things we're trying to avoid, because it does happen.
So it's 30-foot wide, the wash bay?
Yes.
So 30, and the mechanical bay is how much?
I can't read.
Well, what size is the door on the garage now? I'm just going to make this point.
This
and then
door
I'll
down
go.
here?
The garage doors that you use right
16
now, that they say you can get 6-inch clearance on. If you put 2 more feet on that, how wide would that door be?
Be 18 feet.
So 18 feet is the door he needs to comfortably pull in there.
Mm-hmm.
So the mechanic, if you double that and called it, 30 and 30, that's 60 feet for 2 bays on the side of that. And you don't have clearance between that
I don't
and
have the setbacks. I'm going by what code enforcement does. I don't follow the ordinance that well. And the bigger problem here, Dennis, is it's here, and the trucks are down there.
Well, they'd all be up here then, wouldn't they?
No, they'd still be
there's
down
no
there, because you
room.
ain't got enough room up here to put them all in up here, even
You
with
have
2
the
more
buses
bays.
out there.
Peter wants to say something.
Just listening to this discussion and having a fair amount of experience with it, it's just asking Nathan, did the code enforcement officer suggest anything like going to the ZBA as far as setbacks?
That's coming. We didn't down there. And the biggest problem that failed this one down up here is the location.
Yeah, I get you. I was just wondering, if the code enforcement officer is, keeping you apprised of the
Correct.
process. 'cause
Correct, yeah.
The town it can avail that process just like a private citizen can.
And who is going to come up with the building specs? You're mentioning saving the $150,000. Who is going to do that building stuff?
It goes out to design build. So what they do is, we've got to this point. We had to do test holes to design the foundation for the building to set on. So you gather that all up. We'll do a final run through on the plans. They will do a spec sheet of metal siding, the type of heat we want. Then it goes out to 4 or 5 companies that build these, and they do what they call a design build. That comes back, then we sit down and we go through all the plans to make sure we've got everything we need, and then that's it. You pick a building.
Because I'm assuming, my ignorance, these are the people that build these things frequently,
Correct.
so they know. Okay.
Correct, yes.
Very good.
It's putting the cost onto the company that's going to build it, instead of me having to pay, or the town having to pay $150,000 to design it, and then send it out to bid.
In which case, the builder would probably change something anyway.
Right.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
Well, you wouldn't need a sprinkler pit because they're all block walls. That would save you a ton of money.
We'd still need to sprinkle that.
Really? For
That
two
was from
bays?
your, that was from your fire chief.
For two bays?
Well, once you
With
add
block in
that much
between.
onto the building, you gotta sprinkle the whole building.
Changing the building.
Yeah, change
You were-
it,
yep.
change the size. If you add 50%, you'd have to, up to 50%, I think it is, you have to sprinkle it.
The value.
The question was asked to Wayne, if we built here, would I have to sprinkle that? He said, absolutely.
Oh, if you built that whole facility, you mean?
No, this one up here.
Just 2 bays?
Just add on 2 bays up there.
I think it goes on building costs, so you're appraising, you're adding 50% value onto the building that's there. So it's not really, I don't think it's square footage or anything like that, I think it's the value. So if you add on to those bays, you're adding more than 50% of the value of that building that's currently there. And if you do that, you have to sprinkle it.
There's 7 bays there. You're gonna add 2 bays on, it's gonna add 50% of value?
We knew.
That doesn't sound normal either.
I mean, how old's that building?
Oh, that was built, the fire station was built in 70-ish, and they added the public works, the bus garage on in early 80s, and then the public works garage at the end of the 80s.
Probably.
We told you our concerns. All we can do.
We're retiring 2 bonds this year that will amount to about a 20-year bond on this new building. Be almost an equivalent payment. That's pretty good finance right there. The town of Raymond is growing. We're investing in new things. We invested in Parks and Recreation a few years ago. Look how much that has grown. That's gone from a $60,000 department to $300,000 now?
206,000.
Okay. I mean, that's where we are. The population of Raymond is growing. Everything needs an investment, and this is an investment in the town.
We know that. And the question is, what type of investment? Well, let me repeat something. Last year's budget, Nathan said, somewhere down the road, I want to get a facility. How much, last meeting, very last meeting, after we spoke, you asked him, tell us about the building. And he said, well, I've got this building, we've been looking at New Gloucester, and we've been looking at Harrison, it's $2.5 million. We said, you can't do it for that. There's no way. You throw in $1 million, now it's 3.5. It makes it to the warrant. How well did that do? Now we're back less than a year later. Let's just finish this out. We're talking $6 million without a sprinkler system, and we have a few concerns with that process. So we're saying, why don't we slow down? He's got everything under cover. He's using all the bays. He's been like this for a while. And all he said so far is, I need a wash bay and a wider mechanic room. That's what he said he needed.
And you can't do it down here. And by the time you spend $3 million or more,
I think you could
you
save
get a
$3 million.
brand new building with everything you want.
You might be able to save $3 million for another project. All we're saying is, that's what the process was.
It's short-sighted, Dennis. Just like the public safety building was short-sighted when you cut everything out of it and it
didn't cut it.
became a disaster.
The person who cut it, and you know what happened there.
It was a disaster. We spent millions of dollars.
Are we discussing what we've done in the past or what we're doing in the
Yes,
future?
because he's bringing up what we talked about last year.
Well,
So
I'm telling you where we are.
if you're going to take responsibility for a disaster of public safety building that cost us millions of dollars.
$1.2 million.
Okay.
Just to correct that. So, because you say that stuff a lot. $1.5 million. The sprinkler system was $1.5 million.
The heat, how much did Bruce say we were paying for heat when that building first opened? Because it was so poorly insulated.
That's right.
So did we count all that money too?
That was
Probably not.
It was against our objections.
So.
And the metal roof was taken off by the conservative group.
But we are now trying to build a building that is an investment in the town of Raymond that will make safe area for people to work.
We're not disagreeing with that.
Right,
I have a question on this one though, because this is 5-6 million or whatever, but this is what Sebago Technics is saying it's going to cost. I've done a bunch of this stuff, and that's usually high.
Yes.
So, and it hasn't gone out to a bid yet. So if that goes out somewhere, we're getting those in, the design builds, then I think that number we can look at and
Would you
hopefully.
build a house like that? You've been a contractor. Would you build a house with just a guesstimate and then?
No, that's why I would go, no, if I was gonna go out and design build though, I would get those numbers in and then pick from that, is
That's
what I'm
right.
saying. I
That's
wouldn't go off of
exactly right.
this.
And that,
This is a guess. This is a this is
I think that's our concern.
That's our
Right.
concern. We want to know sort of more.
A firm price on what it's going to cost the
Yeah,
taxpayers.
Because listen, when we sat here last year, we were saying 2.5, then we said 3.5, and now we're up to 6 million. That's a concern. And if we had given the 3.5 last year, we would have been screwed. That building would not have been finished, and then we would have had to come back again. And I think that's the big
So
concern.
I want to clear something up. When I came out here last year, I believe the number was around, I was using Harrison's numbers. That was around 3 million, in that range. I was looking for seed money. I was looking for money to, what we got out of the board was 150,000 to get to where we're at. You go down here, put 2 more bays on there. You got to put a wash bay on. The minute you say wash bay, you've got holding tanks, you've got DEP stuff that we've already gone through and vetted down here. I don't have enough room in that parking lot to park 7 trucks comfortably with the fire department there. Can't do it.
Right.
There's no office space there for the guys to get out of the truck, to use the bathroom, to sit down and have anything to eat. That's been all vetted down there. This started in 2005, right after the comprehensive plan. And if you look at the comprehensive plan in 2004, they said we need to start looking at a public works garage. Actually, it said we need to start putting money aside for it. Through the process, over the years, they asked, what about this year? What about next year? Just got to let this bond retire and that bond retire. It has never been brought forward because that's part of the budget process. Last year, the budget process was, let's bring it forward and see what we can do.
But it wasn't on the agenda, Nathan. You didn't put it on the agenda. It came up at the last meeting.
No, it was on the
You
agenda.
said, somewhere down the road, I'd like to have a facility.
This is where we're going to start, and we're going to go with,
Doesn't make any sense.
I believe that's what we were talking about last year. It was on the agenda to give to you guys. It was in your packets last year.
And I go with Derek. I think it's a great idea to find out what the potential cost would be versus a guesstimate. I think that.
And we can't do that until it goes out to design build. I can do that,
No,
but I don't have.
Build, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, and I can do that, and that's the process we're taking. I can't do anything else. I don't have enough money to do that, the other direction.
Oh, yeah.
So, and he's right. The 5.8 million is an estimate, designed estimate. Again, you guys just said that. I don't want to say it's going to be 3 million. Get all the building design done, get all the money spent, and geez, it's 4 million. It's not going to work that way. I know that, and that's what we're doing.
So out the 150 that was given minus the 22,000, what can be done with the remaining?
It's still in the process. I got a bill coming in for the engineering for the foundation was about $10,000. There's going to be probably another. The bills are around $2 or $3 grand a month when we work on it. So it's going to be tight. It's going to be probably all of the 100,000.
And when do you kind of expect to eat all that money up? End of.
We're hoping to have something back from design build the end of June.
And you think at the end of June that money will be completely eaten up, or?
No, I don't. I hope not all of it, but we'll be pretty close. Again, that was an estimate. $150,000 is an estimate, and you can't really do anything unless you get an estimate. Most of my life is estimates. And when I come in forward to you guys on my budget, it's an estimate. I'm hoping that I'm not going to spend all the money. I hope I put enough money into it because it is the world we're in. So I don't know. I think 150,000 is pretty on the heavy side. This whole thing has cost a lot more than $10,000 to do the test holes. And that was with us digging the holes. I just don't understand that, but it is what it is. And that's talking to the other towns that have done this. And my business partner, yeah, he said that's what it is. He said he's involved in this stuff knee deep too. So, and putting the building down there gets the public works out of here, down there where it's out of sight. Trucks are taken care of. We're not. I wouldn't want to live across the street from the public works garage. Would you?
As you're bringing trucks in and out of there too, you got those buses that are sitting.
Got buses
too.
there. Got the fire department there.
Yep.
Yep.
So my
And they
question
couldn't
would,
utilize the buses in there, could they? If they opened that up, or they put that, it would just be
no,
storage.
no, because that's why they have a facility down in Wyndham. They're supposed to do all their washing and stuff like that down there. My question would be then, what is your concern? Is it that not enough money has been budgeted? Is it a matter of maybe too much money is budgeted? Is it a matter of it's a work in progress, and you want those definite numbers, and to me, you can't get those definite numbers. What is the concern?
Well, the concern is that this is a massive project that the town of Raymond is going to be paying for, and we're sitting here trying to figure it out within the next couple of days and weeks if that number is it, and we don't have enough information on it.
Do you think it's enough that maybe the building might be more?
Well, I mean, knowing how costs are,
Yep.
and that's how everything is.
Yep.
You mentioned 10 grand to dig a test pit. Yeah, it could be more. And I think one of my concerns was from last year, we were gonna do this thing off blindly without any numbers, just, hey, this is what New Gloucester did 3 or 5 years ago, whatever, and that cost has gone significantly higher. And we would have ran out of money, and we would have had to stop.
We would have never started the
So
project.
Right, we didn't start that project, so stop this.
Wait.
Oh, you said 3.5 million. Well,
Joe.
It's important.
but we pulled it.
Okay, yes, we did. Okay.
Hello,
So
one at a time,
stop,
please.
Stop.
Why did you pull it?
Stop, Dennis,
Rich,
stop.
I can
Let
ask
me
a
finish,
question.
I've got the floor.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm trying to get us on a page where we're all working together, okay? So, one of the things is, with the budget, the select board, and people have been really pissed off about it, and I'm saying it, is Joe will come back all the time and say, this budget is too much. I don't want the taxpayers paying this. One of the things the select board has never done is spent money frivolously. Right. Okay, so we are very tight on the budget, to the point that you guys got really mad at us last year because we said come back at 6%. Am I right? You did. No, you did. I'm sorry, that wasn't a
asked a
question.
question. I was
Yeah,
gonna
I'm
answer.
shutting up. That wasn't.
Oh, so you don't
it was
want
just a
that
comment.
answered?
No, I don't. Because you did. But anyways, we have always been very careful about what it is. And maybe we cut, and that 25 cents, whatever, we're looking at everything. So it is I'm getting the impression that aren't going to get you guys don't want this garage because it's frivolous, it's a want, when it is needed for this town. So that is my 2 cents on this. And to sit here and as
Okay,
two boards,
thank you.
I'm not done. I'm sorry.
I thought you
Stop.
said that was your 2 cents.
It is, and I'm still talking. I have not taken a breath. But to sit here and literally be accused of, out of anybody, Nathan, who is the duct tape guy, it just burns me. It really does. So how about we have a little bit more trust in each other and talk this through? You guys are going out and getting your own sprinkler system because you have no faith or trust in us.
Ask me why.
Why?
Because I was going to ask you to put it on the warrant for the taxpayers to decide if they wanted to sprinkle a $6 million building instead of you deciding they didn't want it.
And you know what that does? That gives somebody a door to a building, a door, not the whole thing. People want to see this whole thing, as far as that's what the engineer does on this thing, okay? So when you say, what are we voting on, a door? Why? And that's the thing with the sprinkler system. He has been having meetings with the main fire marshal, and we've had meetings at our meetings with the Wayne and Bruce. I'm done.
And I feel like, and I totally understand the duct tape part. I totally get it. I do think also, if you're talking about other departments, I see other departments just from listening doing that duct tape too. So I see that so many of our departments in our towns are really trying to be good budget-wise. I see that. So I get that. I mean, and I see that you're looking for stuff. I can't believe you had to drill the holes. I think that's ridiculous, and they still charge you $10,000. You know, I think that the main thing for us is we're just saying, okay, is this, I mean, we're seeing 6 million, and it's just, it would be good to see sort of what it might truly be.
That's what the $5.8 million is. The 5.8 is an engineering estimate, and that estimate is compiled from other buildings of similar size.
This has $1 million contingency in it too.
Correct. So there's personally, and talking to the other towns and other buildings and stuff that I've been involved in that I've seen, I'm thinking this building's going to be $3.5 to $4 million, somewhere in that range, which is about the same square footage. That's what, $275 a square foot. That's close to what we were talking about last year. I was using those other towns. Is that I have to see something physically. I had to go over and walk into Harrison's building and say, yeah, I see how this works. I can't work off a drawing. Never have been able to.
Oh, yeah. And so, that what we're doing is we're getting ready to get the information to get
Correct.
a warrant to get a bond for something that might be more money that we would have to use. Is that correct?
Well, we've got it's the estimate that we have. The bond estimate is a placeholder.
Okay.
I'm not going to, if the building comes in at $3 million, I'm not going to get in front of the Board of Selectmen and say, I need $6 million for this $3 million building.
Right.
Not going to happen. If it goes to $7 million, I'm probably going to pull the plug on it. I don't think I can get behind a $7 million building. That was one of the issues with the sprinkler. We looked at cutting bays out of this building, and then it became, why are you building what you're building? If you're going to cut down lower than what the people you've asked to look at this recommend it. You know, you could cut the storage bays out, have the 2 mechanic bays and the wash bay, and you're only going to save $500,000, $1 million maybe. So once you've got to the big chunk, why wouldn't you just go a little further?
And I was just thinking, I didn't know when you have to vote on it. That's all I was. Does it have to? I thought it had to.
You're going to vote on a warrant at
The
town
warrant.
meeting in
Yep.
June.
Yep.
If it passes, then you go to the bond bank, or we use Richard Rannigan. He sometimes he'll go to the bond bank, or sometimes he'll go to the private market on bonds. So, you know, to say we are frivolous in our spending.
No one said that. No one said that.
You said this is a frivolous purchase.
That is not what anyone said. They never
said
used
it.
that word. I didn't say frivolous.
I said frivolous,
Yeah,
but
you did.
that's literally what is being implied.
See, Joe, what happened? You took her words and put them in my mouth. Now let me finish
my
you.
words.
Let me just
So-
finish. I got the floor.
So, no, I was speaking.
Oh, you were accusing me of saying frivolous.
Okay. You say this is an unnecessary building.
I did not say that.
I want building.
It's with the size.
This is a want, okay? We are retiring 2 bonds so that we can pay for this building down the road. We are also AAA rated. A town of 5,000 people, less than 5,000 people, AAA rated.
Good.
That's not because of wasteful spending. That's because of good financial judgment by this board. So for you to accuse us of saying we don't need this and all this stuff, that's wrong. It seems to me more vengeful than it is practical.
Now you're personalizing and you're on a line. Let me explain something right now, because this is all public and it's going to be recording, and I tried to be really quiet here when I said my piece the first time, but I think it ought to be clear. At the last budget meeting we had, where we were the budget committee, before it went to the select board where they brought back the warrants, we were told at the last minute, the 2.5, we'd have another $1 million and that would take care of it, and it went to a warrant. I called the town manager and I said, Don, how is it possible this has got to the point where we're going to either vote it up or down to repeat the chairman? You can vote it up or down. You can support us. So I called Don and I said, this is crazy. Owen wouldn't have said it could be done for 2.5. He's our town engineer. Don checked it out. Next meeting, there was a glitch. We're going to take out the 3.5 million that we wanted you or couldn't let you vote on or split or anything else, and we're going to put in 150,000, and we still supported it. But the reality is, without Don calling, that would have gone through to the next warrant. Now we're here, a year later. The only thing we asked for was a needs assessment and a space analysis. That was what we said. And now we're concerned and we're saying we had a year that could have been done. And it was never on a warrant. It was never on the agenda, written on the agenda for anything more than words. Same thing with the recreation, but you did do your homework, and we supported that in the whole 9 yards. But if that $1 million is used, I'm just using that for example, for the bond that we voted through, and everything's done and there's $100,000 left, what happens to it? However, if it goes over, they'll be back for more money. And all we said is, we'd like to have a firm price if it's $6 million, it comes back and we vote to support what it's going to cost us, and it's black and white. That's different than let's vote for a bond and then hope we can do it for that, because that's how we got cut back. And we actually went through a process of needs, and it was a committee of citizens, and they put on 4 people who got up and spoke against it. And it cost us a metal roof. No one's speaking against this. We're simply saying we want the figures firm before we tell the town, that's what they say to do, study the budget. review, ask people questions, do your due diligence. And that's what we're saying we want to do. And another year, or another 6 months, or another 3 months, whatever it takes to do due diligence is not a lot to ask for $6 million.
First,
this is not I'm sorry.
No,
now
sorry, I apologize.
And if we're going to listen to each other, I want to be on the record.
So
it should have never got to 3.5 on a warrant, but they wouldn't listen to the Finance Committee, so this year we decided to make a point of verbalizing our concern. You tell me what citizen wouldn't want us to verbalize a concern that there's a warrant proposed at $6 million with estimates that doesn't have a sprinkler on it because we want to save money, who I get criticized because I want to get a quote to make that separate in case the citizens did want to protect the $6 million building. Not once. Did I not call you last year and say, Nathan, I'll help you with the building, tell me what you want, I'll support you?
You actually called me after the meeting with Mr. Willard because Dawn said that I was pissed off, and I wasn't. And you and I chatted about that, and that was the end of the conversation.
Thank you. I called them to say, this is what all we did in the fire department, it saved us money. I just wanted to know if you knew I called to say I could help you.
We never talked about money.
No.
We talked about just whether I was mad at you or not.
And helping. I said I would help you.
And that was the end of the conversation.
I've never been anti-public works.
No,
I've never been chintzy or anything like that, and I never called you guys frivolous. For the record, I think it's more important to have a firm price to vote on when it's a $6 million bond than what we're doing. That's all I'm saying.
You cannot get a firm price on anything.
We're working our way.
Can't.
We did on the public safety building. We got 3 of them.
So Dennis, well, we're not going to vote. We're running out of time on the bond on the town meeting. It's taken longer than we thought. So if you put this off another year, we're going to add more money to this. And the idea of doing this is to try to save as much money as we can. So if you do a needs assessment and you do a committee to look at it, you're going to add another year to this thing. And we can be back here next year, and it's probably going to be a $7 or $8 million building. And I really, to be honest with you, I don't know if I can get behind that. That's a lot of money for a building. We're trying to do this on the cheap right now. You will have a firm price when we go out to design build. I can't do anything more than that until we go out to design build. It's going to come right to the end of the fiscal year. So you put a placeholder in there. You did it when you were fire chief, did it 100 times. That's all that is a placeholder. You're not voting on bonding a $6 million building. We just got done talking about it. It could be down around 4 million, somewhere in that range.
Can I ask something genuinely? Why? Because one of the reasons why I'm getting the feeling I'm getting is because you guys went into the buildings and now you're coming back saying, oh, you guys can do this to this building. You guys can do this to this. Yes, you are. You just did. Well, you can add another 18 feet or you can add 2 bays down there. You guys just got done talking about that.
It may be an option.
Well, I know that. But, but again, you're not in that spot where he's working every day with all of his stuff. That would be his expertise on it. And yes, we do need options. And yes, we need that other pair of eyes and type thing to look at it. But to me, I felt like you guys were literally like at this meeting tonight coming in and saying, well, no, we feel you guys can do this for this and adding this on. That's how I am taking it.
Well, I will. The citizens are going to have the same questions that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And when people ask us, hey, what is going on with this $6 million project?
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to be able to speak on it, just like every other person here. And I think it's important to have this conversation.
Yep.
So we say, these are the options. This is not an option. This is the option that we have. And then the people of Raymond can decide. And I don't think that, having this conversation is a negative. I think this is really important. And
as long as you're giving them the facts. Not implying that that building's going to be unsafe if you don't sprinkle it. If the state fire marshal says you don't need to sprinkle it, that's a fact. That has nothing to do with the safety of the building.
They're saying in Raymond you don't have to sprinkle it, even though we have an ordinance.
The only thing that makes it have to be sprinkled right now is the ordinance. And that wasn't just from me looking at it, I don't want $1 million sprinkler system. That was from the building people that we've talked to about what we're going to need for this building. That's from the engineers. That's from the 2 sprinkler companies that I talked to that said, yeah, if that wasn't in Raymond, you wouldn't need to sprinkle that building. Call to the state fire marshal. They've got a copy of these plans. Yeah, we don't need to sprinkle that. You go to Harrison, they're building.
Put that in writing?
Oh, yeah.
Do that in writing?
They'll put it in writing. They haven't yet. That's their opinion.
Well, we had a year to do this. Like I said,
It's taken a year to get us to where we're at right now. You've had a year. You could have picked up the phone and talked to me, Dennis. You could have come down and saw my building. We could have walked through the
we
building.
didn't know it was $6 million in just a few weeks ago when you guys started talking about it.
It was $5 million when we talked about it, and with the 6.2 was just a. Yeah, we discussed it in a selectmen's meeting.
A couple of months ago.
Yeah, because I came to ask whether we could continue forward, and this is where we're at. And at that point, it was the 5.8, I think. And the 6.2, we were tossing the sprinklers back and forth. The 6.2 was a placeholder. That's all.
Can we talk about the timeline? I mean, is there anything to say that we couldn't have a special town meeting once we do have more concrete figures from a design build estimate? I mean, does this have to go on the June warrant?
Yeah, if you want to get it started by September, October, yes.
But you could have a special town meeting after June, yes?
You're going to be July, August.
No one's around, no one votes.
I think this is I think that this June meeting is going to get a larger sample of people.
Mm-hmm. It's not a meeting. They've already canceled it.
It is a meeting. Under state law, it's a meeting.
It's not an open public discussion like we're having now.
It doesn't matter. It's still considered a meeting under state law.
Well, he just said we could have a meeting and the people could come in and see.
No, I didn't say that, Dennis.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're going to have an election.
Oh, election.
Yeah.
I thought you said-
And we're going to get a bigger sample of people coming into that election. I think that's a fairer opinion of the building than getting, what do we get, Sue, for typical?
Typical for a primary is around 1,200 people.
What do we get on the last open town meeting, is what I'm saying?
70,
Yeah. And half of that staff.
yes.
I have a question. I haven't been here long enough to get even remotely involved, but this was 2004 comp plan said the Public Works building was needed.
Yep.
And it's 2024, so if this would or could have been sped up earlier, I mean, this is the problem if we keep delaying this out. I mean, a few months is one thing, but if we keep doing this, the prices, they love to go up. They don't love to come down. I just think this is what's going to happen, like with the school. If we just keep pushing this log down the road, I don't know how many times you've wanted or asked for a public works building from 2004 till now, but like I just think if the longer we wait, the more expensive it's going to be on a building expertise side.
I don't disagree. It just wasn't. It was never on a CIP. It was never on anything.
No, I get it, and I like hard numbers.
all
I
that
rather be all
stuff.
that. I don't want to keep kicking it too far down because it's gonna just rise and rise and rise, and then I think we're gonna say no. I would. I mean, it gets too crazy out of hand. Then you don't get it at all. I don't know.
Well, if we got a quick description and did the RFP, you'd have bids by the town.
That's what that designed engineer design price is.
Right, but you'd have bids by June when the town meeting would be held.
No.
You couldn't have bids if you did an RFP?
No. No, they're talking 5 to 6 weeks to do the design build. And we're probably a month away from that, month and a half away from that.
The specs that Karen was talking about. Karen, are you there?
Yes, I'm right here.
Okay, you've been out of the screen, so I was just curious. So really what we were talking about is trying to get the firm price and to see if there was options. That's in a nutshell.
Well,
the estimate
it sounds like right now that they're working towards the drawings for the design build, then send those out for an RFP. And when the proposals come in, they will be evaluated, which it's not going to align prior to the election in June. So my question is the select board interested in writing a warrant with a number of 6.5 million to put before the voters and then fine tune that after the vote comes back, assuming that the vote is in the positive to go forward with the bond?
Well, you just because you put a number on the warrant doesn't mean you're going to bond that number.
That's what she's saying.
If those design bills come in at 5 million,
That's what you're gonna.
that's what you're bonding, is 5 million, not the 6.2.
No, I think that's what she's saying, though, is put
Right.
Well,
that
that's
number
what,
out there.
that,
Well,
What
hold
you would
off on
do,
bond.
what you would do is you would put it out for that warrant article.
Up
Not
to.
Up to.
Not to exceed.
Not to
Up
exceed.
to whatever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Not to exceed.
you're gonna contract at the amount that it's contracted, and that's what you're gonna bond at.
Right.
That sounds like a solution. Then
That's
you got a
kinda what
firm place
this-
for us to vote on.
But
That's kind of what the
that's how it always
placeholder.
works.
Yeah, that's kind of like
Not
the
to,
placeholder.
not to exceed.
Not to exceed them.
Yeah, that's how you always.
Good
do it.
idea, Karen.
And to come back with it,
Come back with what?
with the explanation and everything, right?
Or if it's at 5 million.
Well, once it's a design build.
Once it's a design build,
Yeah.
you'd have 3 or 4, however many, 5 of them, and you can
And then
Pick a-
go from there.
talk, pick, and go
Right.
over.
Whether you want to go with
Right.
the lower price or the middle price is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You can talk over the options.
But you don't want to go so low that you're.
I don't think
Screwing
low bid's a good
yourself
idea.
up.
No,
You'd never
you
win.
go on the reputation of the people who bid.
Right.
You
Yeah.
call references and see.
Quality of work,
Yeah.
Right.
workmanship.
And if they've been doing other buildings through other different towns, at least you have an idea, because I'm sure you have.
These
tons of
people that
buildings
bid on these,
Great Falls.
they're not gonna bid on it if they haven't,
Right.
you do.
Because you know that
You
people
screw
will
up 1 or 2, you're no longer in
Right.
business.
Who
There's no
did the
3 or
one in
4.
New Gloucester and Harrison?
Great Falls built, Harrison, I don't know the name of the company off the top of my head. I think Great Falls did Wyndham Public Works, and the company out of Auburn did New Gloucester's building. New Gloucester's building is 21,000 square feet. I think Wyndham's is 15 or 18,000. But they're big companies. You're not going to
Yeah.
get, no offense to anybody that's listening, you're not going to get Harry the homeowner down the street with a hammer.
Right.
It's a little bit more than that. No offense, Derek.
They've gotta have bonding capabilities. and-
Yeah.
Right, because they gotta be bonded.
Oh, yeah, anything over $100,000, you have to bond in the municipal world. They have to have a performance bond. So, yeah, it's a different animal once you get up into that $1 million mark on buildings.
I think I'm satisfied for now.
Okay.
Can we move on?
Can we,
Yes, let's move on.
are you done with me?
Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you.
Dennis, what's your email address?
Oh, it goes out with all the, it's right on there with Sue
It
sent
keeps,
some.
it keeps kicking back.
Keeps
Well,
coming
that
back.
Spectrum kicked me off with my 35-year-old one. It's now my name and 213
At maine.r.com?
at Gmail.
Okay. I'm literally thinking, why does this thing keep kicking it back? Okay.
I thought the same thing.
Where are we now?
Recreation.
Parks and Recreation.
Here you go, Joe.
Good luck. Oh,
Joe Crocker, Parks and Rec. Some good news. Our 5th and 6th grade girls just made it to the championship game for our
yay.
rec playoffs. They'll be playing Poland in Wyndham Middle School next Tuesday at 6. So
That's great.
it's exciting. And I was just at their game before this, and they were playing. Looked like a really good game.
With a small bench.
Small bench, yes.
Do we have any students at Gray? I mean, they're going to the Class A finals.
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah. There
No
was,
one mentioned Gray.
There was, yeah, no one mentioned
The
grade.
girls or the boys?
The boys.
Boys.
They're going to state finals.
I don't know. I don't know if we have any on the team.
Isn't
Okay.
that?
That's true.
But no, we have students that go.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, we have students that go there. I don't know if they're if we play on their team.
I don't think there are any on the team.
Sidetracked.
But Joe might know.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I know my budget though.
Come on.
So I'll go right through the
I think that's shit.
budget proposal. I think the first line is the big one that we want to go over. I'm asking for a increase in our salaries line to support a assistant parks and recreation director. You should see that in the job description in your packet as well. Through the years, since I've been here, this is actually my 4th year. We've added a whole other department of programs and events. You see that's grown throughout the years. Also, Tasseltop has also increased in revenues and our participation of numbers as well. So it is becoming challenging to grow the program side of things and also support Tasseltop in that growth and the master plan that we are putting in there to hopefully expand the amenities. Not only just a bathroom, and new snack shack facility, but also new maintenance shed, and then hopefully maybe some more cabins that can be rented out.
You know what, Joe? I think this is the first time I've seen the word porta potty in a budget explanation.
I didn't know the nice term to put for that. So yeah, so that's the salary line increase. So next is contracts, which is, Joe said, the porta potties. That's for all the beaches. We've actually increased the amount of time we have those out because of the use. Veterans Park, Raymond Beach, Crescent. These places are right on the main drag, and so we pretty much from April to October, I have those out there for people to use, and people seem to enjoy it. Everything else in the operational has either been, I think actually travel and training has been increased. That's to support trainings for the new Assistant Parks and Rec Director, conferences, also looking to get CPR first aid training and lifeguards as well. I will probably be one of those lifeguards who will be training just to have that license. So if we can use West Beach at Camp Hines for summer camp, we can actually use the beach there. We need 2 lifeguards on staff according to their insurance. So unfortunately, we weren't able to use it there last year for summer camp. So we're hoping to do that this year.
How many kids did you have enroll in that summer camp last year?
Yeah, last year we had 35 enrolled.
And expanding it this year,
We are
you have an assistant?
Yeah, we're expanding it even without the assistant right now. We ended up renting out the whole Messer Hall. So last year we had to share it with Maine Conservation Corps, which
is it an overnight camp?
Ours is not, no.
Okay.
But the Conservation Corps was living there.
Okay.
So we worked with Camp Hines and we said, hey, we like the whole building. We will pay, and we can cover half of it is actually coming out of the projects and maintenance line in operation. The other half will be supported by the revenues generated, and that will allow us to expand to 50 kids a week.
Do you have scholarship available for needy students?
We do not right now.
Really?
We do, yes. So we do offer a payment plan. So you put down pretty much a down payment on your spot and then pay that off before the year. But as of right now, just because it's a lot to administer, I will, if there's some financial hardship, I will drag that payment out as long as I can.
Can we use the Raymond Community Fund?
I
For
don't know if there's
scholarship?
any specific guidelines to that, Joe. I know we talked about it last budget cycle.
Yeah, I mean, I want every kid to have an opportunity.
For sure. And we did have to increase because we are trying to retain our senior counselors who are hopefully have a teaching certificate or are in a teaching degree. So we're trying to attract some good staff there as well, as long as also supporting the field trips and all the excursions that we do, which costs a lot of money. So
Are those going to be certified lifeguards as well, or trying to get them to?
for we're going to have staff also have a certified.
Right.
So as of right now,
Besides you, there'll be.
it'll be Kayla and Sam. So on
All three.
staff, yeah.
Is Sam already or not?
She is not, no.
Okay.
So we will. I'm looking at that right now. We just got some.
I think all 3 should go. In case one of you doesn't pass, it'd be nice to still have.
Exactly, and I will be here longer too. Yeah, the 2.
I'm just being.
I was thinking with your teaching
Seen him
certificates, you were
swim.
saying some of the counselors. It's too bad there isn't a way that they could do an internship and count that as an
Yeah.
internship with colleges, because I know a lot of people I've had,
Oh, yeah.
and that
For
brings
sure.
some really good people in.
Yeah, have you
because-
reached out?
No, I think that'd be
St.
good to
Joe's.
reach out to. Yeah, I was just there for a career fair, job fair, so I was networking with some of the students there. A lot of them just go home and work at their own summer camps, but that might be good to get in with education teachers there and see if we can pull from there. So that's it for my operational on the expenses. Tasseltop, these are just kind of also projections on what we kind of do year after year. Last year was actually a bad year with rain. That's definitely dependent, but it was actually a good marker of our minimum amount of revenues that we can generate during a season. So it's actually, I think I had $126,000 in revenue. So on the high end, on a good summer, we can raise anywhere from $155,000 in revenue. And that directly offsets our operational expenses at Tasseltop.
Have your rates gone up because of the improvements?
No, not yet. That is something we are considering. I figured we'd probably hold off one more year until we get some of these projects in, and then reevaluate that as well. And then also, any questions with Tasseltop or?
What?
Okay.
Is there anything with the money that the citizens are putting into for that bond for the improvements? Is there anything they can get as a perk, I guess? Because I know if you're not down there on a good day at 7:30, you don't get in.
For sure. We do have the resident rate. The season pass is really, really affordable. It's $70. That's for a car full of your own family for 7.
Is that for everyone or for Raymond only?
That's for Raymond only. Non-residents is $95. So that's something we'll probably look at, I think, increasing, not this year, but next year as well. And there's daily rates too. There's a non-resident and resident daily rate as well. I think it's, I can't list it off the top of my head, but I think it's around $3 to $4. So we offer that at a discount for Raymond residents.
Joe?
Yeah.
Joe and I had a big conversation about before and after school care. It is in dire need. And if Joe has the building to do it, do you have it in this?
So that would be definitely with the Assistant Parks and Rec Director. I think with all the other programs, I think having the Assistant Parks and Rec Director focus on the summer camp, and an after-school program run through Messer Hall might be the best option, because it'll be generating revenue all year round. So that would be something that Assistant Parks and Rec Director would look at. I'm in talks right now with Messer, sorry, not Messer Hall, but to use Messer Hall all year. So we'd rent it out for the whole year. That would generate the
That's insulated
program.
and heated and everything, that building?
Yep, yep.
So with the before and after school program, because there is such a need for it, they can take the kids in the morning, they can take the kids in the afternoon. Wednesday is a huge spot because of it being a half day. And because they would all be school-age kids, they can take more kids, and they don't follow the DHS rules as strictly because you are a town program type thing.
Correct. We could probably still operate at that 40 to 50 person range through Messer Hall. So that, I knew that would be a big service for the town of Raymond. My daughter's also in the school district as well, so it is challenging to find any type of care before or after, especially with parents at work.
And it brings in the money, which is great. And because, too, is they would have their own snacks, they would not have to do a lot of food. Do you know what I mean, as far as that extra expense and stuff like that? But I think it's a huge, huge thing that you guys would be able to do.
Teresa, how does that work with competing against other daycares or?
None. Because what happens is SAC right now used to, years ago when it was red, could take in 75 kids. Now they can take in, I think, because they only use one building.
39.
39, I was going to say like 35. The daycares are closing still left and right. And what happens is most daycares are taking kids all day long. So if you're fitting in a before and after, like I do that morning and afternoon, I don't take them on Wednesday afternoons because there's such a need for it. There really is. And then also mixing the ages with the infants and the toddlers with the school age gets really rough sometimes. But this would be perfect because the bus can just pick them right up, drop them all off, and it would be perfect. And what's nice is you got the field outside too.
Got the field. We're looking to install a playground there as well. So there'll be, especially for summer camp, it's nice to have the field, but I think some type of play structure there is also great. And I know Camp Hines is working through that, the legal agreement of that, but I think it would be beneficial to have another playground there as well that anyone could use too.
In town, it's a huge benefit. Huge benefit. It really would be.
And then what about being undercover for rain and that kind of thing.
So that's what Messer Hall is for. Yeah, so Messer Hall has pretty good sized kind of main hall. It's probably about 30 by 40. And it has some breakout rooms and a kitchen area and stuff like that. So we could spread out pretty good.
It's on Plains Road. Have you ever been down by there?
I haven't been to Camp Hines, no.
No, but it's
Take a
when
ride
you're-
down.
Yeah, if you go down Plains Road, it's the white building on the right. Camp Hines goes back in the woods on the left.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think actually we were on for CPC. We went down there for we checked it out, but yeah, I never went there. It was
And it's being utilized, which is good.
Yes, they love us there. I think it brings a new, fresh look. And when we did the surveys from last summer camp, I was worried that maybe they didn't like it. It was kind of rough, hot, and especially when it's rainy. All the kids were really centrally located, but it came back really positive that they loved the camp type feel of that place. The ability to go to the beach or on a walk or Rattlesnake Mountain, do some other Boy Scout activities that they let us try out, stuff like that. So it was a good partnership.
Use the beach too, along with that hall?
Well, we could, but then they figured out that we need 2 lifeguards, and we had to pull back. Yeah, so that's where that broke down. But they would like us to use it if we have lifeguards.
It's a great building for that.
Yes, it is. It's really nice to have a little bit of the old camp type style, but it'd be a day camp and reasonable for families to go pay for that.
Question of revenues. Is
Yeah.
any of the revenues at all going to go towards the bond, even though you're growing? I'm just wondering if it was set up for some of the money to come back, or is it just that while you're growing, it's going to stay there? How's that work?
Yeah, as of right now, there's no plan to put that back. Tasseltop right now probably generates, depending on the year, maybe $5,000 to $25,000 in profit a season. Really dependent on what type of year we're having and what other type of improvements. We made a lot of improvements in the last 3 or 4 years, so that's kind of decreased our profit margin. But I think as we get these projects in, we should see that profit margin increase. So I think that could be something we look at. It is tough to manage that, like the surplus of Tasseltop, and if something goes, you want to make sure you have that money
I just
too.
didn't know how it's set up, that's all.
Oh, no, that's okay.
No, all bonds are paid through the fund balance,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Okay.
Joe, I'd like to ask you a little bit about whether or not you're going to do some planning for seniors soon
Yes, I just
in
had
the
a
area of recreation.
Yes, of course. I just had a meeting with Age Friendly Raymond and Avesta, which is at Jordan Bay, about using a community room as a possibility. Richard and I have also talked about the librarian, some senior program we can collaborate on, and things like that. I think if we add an assistant Parks and Rec director, that would probably help shift into new ventures, like a senior program and things like that. So
Now, I'd love to have that person get some responsibility towards developing senior programs.
for sure. So that's Tasseltop. Recreation, these are also projections on what we'll bring in. There's an increase in the overall revenues because we expanded summer camp from 38 to 50. So that will generate more revenue, but we also will be paying more in staff and operations. So we will, the expense line as well and the revenues will increase. And then we are still asking for in CIP that $35,000 to go towards playground and park improvements.
This playground being at Camp Hines?
No, this is just a general maintenance or to purchase playgrounds, upkeep some of what we have at our parks, Sherry Gagnon, things like that. So that goes also to like our ball field mix for softball, things like that.
Have we put in the new pickleball courts yet, or They're still in the planning stage.
We're still in the planning stage. We had our first draft of design. We will hopefully get the building requirements and get that out to contractors shortly. So I'm hoping for fall.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. All the pickleballers, they want it.
Phone must be ringing off the hook.
For sure, every couple of weeks
There's
once it
some of
gets
that
nice.
senior activity Frank was talking about right
Yeah.
there.
Well, pickleball, I mean, it's been huge. We have over 100 registered, and we have over 300 in our app that we use to organize it. So
Holy cow.
that's a program that's been growing real fast.
I have a quick question on that one. I wasn't here when that one went through either and stuff, but is there anything in the works for the study of the ground that stuff's going to be put on? Just because it sucked kind of to put all that in there, and then
For sure.
it feels like it's a swamp sponge type area.
Yes, it's been an extensive amount of digging and poking down there.
Yeah.
They're going to be raised up, I think it was 4 feet?
Yeah.
3.5 feet. They're going to put geotextile down.
Okay, good. That's the big thing I was concerned about, because once you start, you can put all the fill you want in there. It's just going to keep sinking. So yeah, I bet. I'm sure the guy's still in
Yeah,
it.
we did that for years with basins.
Yeah,
and
you
it
got to
just-
put the
yeah.
fabric. It's going to throw good.
Yeah, yeah.
Only a few mosquitoes down there. Don't worry about it, though.
Great.
Are you still looking for Easter baskets?
I am, yes.
You want to do your plug?
Yes, we're having our Easter egg event again this year. We're going to hold it at RES, and we are partnering with the fire department as well. They're going to do a breakfast beforehand at the fire station. It's March 30th, and then after that, we'll be doing the Easter egg hunt at RES. And we are looking for either gift certificate donations or Easter baskets, where if one child finds a golden egg, there'll be multiple golden eggs out there. They can redeem that for a gift basket or gift certificate. So,
I'm sorry, what was the date?
March 30th.
30th.
Yep. So
I have one for you.
awesome. Thank you.
And they have to register online.
They have to register online. We already have, I think, around 86. Last year we had over 105.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's probably going to grow as well.
Easter basket. Donate it for the Easter egg hunt for the kids.
Well, you just give money.
You can give them money to put in a thing, or have them
I
go
will-
get something.
You don't mind if they give you money, Joe, do they?
No, I'll go to Sam's Club and buy some Easter
Sam's
baskets
Club.
there. So, from Sam. So, great. Any other questions?
Joe's holding his breath. Nope. I'm not.
Okay, are we all set with Parks and Recreation? Move on to the Raymond Village Library.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is this the last one?
Hello, everybody. I don't know if I met you yet. I'm the new guy, Richard Doe. So, hi.
New guy goes last.
As you can see, I was very conservative in my budget proposal. The big ones that are changing are the salaries, just a very small increase by like $3,000 for a 15-hour a month, like per diem employee. $30 for new memberships for the Maine Library Association and American Library Association. And then some more money for books. Yeah. No, I want to update the children's collection. In my proposal, the average nonfiction book is from 2003, and I'd like to increase the and I'd like to increase the amount of ebooks we have, because one example that I have here, it's like a 2-year wait, and just one purchase would get that down to like 2 weeks. So
Oh wow.
yes, because like we would own it, but other people in the state could use it, but our patrons would get it first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to download books through your library?
Well, you already can. Yes.
The 2003 versions, or
No. So the ebooks are a little bit different. The state owns them, kind of thing. Like we go through the state cloud library, but we can buy individual copies of books that are only for our patrons, and unless no one wants it, then it gets shared with the state. But that is already an offer that we have, so you should all get a library card if you don't have one.
And you're getting new library cards.
Oh, we already have new library
Oh my
cards.
gosh, I
Yes,
know, I
they're
saw that.
adorable. They're really nice.
I heard all about
Yup,
it.
it's because I'm asking people to bring library cards, so I'm making it really easy for them. Yeah, you should do it. And now we got not a grant. Someone paid for all that, so that was nice too.
Wow.
Yup, I have friends. Quite literally, the friends group is amazing, but they're not the ones that paid for that.
And your children's programs and your toddler programs.
Toddler programs, and we have senior programs all the time.
And you can take donations for books.
Yes, nice books, please, but we do take donations.
So in the senior program, they get to read the 2003 versions?
Yes, we save the better ones for the kids.
They can't remember that.
No, we actually have a composting program. I meant to say that we have a composting program coming up. It's like a 3-week event, so come on over. You can learn about composting.
You send an email out, right, with all the information?
That one, I haven't sent out an email yet.
No wonder I haven't seen.
No, because it's March and I haven't sent out my March newsletter. I'm
would be good.
behind, sorry.
If anybody hasn't signed up for that, it is, those emails are amazing.
Oh yeah, they're a hoot.
I love it, yeah.
Thank you. Questions? I can make more jokes.
Don't know how you did
I
it.
hope you're not as conservative next year. and you're-
Trying to talk.
I hope you're
Sorry.
not as conservative.
I was just,
Go ahead, Frank.
I hope you're not as conservative next year in your budget as you have been this year.
I appreciate that. Do you want me to change it right now?
Well, you could, yeah, I'd have no problem with that. I think the library is one of the best things we have in this town. I'm in there a couple of days a week at least.
Yes, you are.
When I'm here, the 7 months that I'm here, and I just think that any money we spend in the library is good money.
All right. Well, can I have a time machine? No. I mean, we do amazing things with the budget that we have. I do have, again, the Friends group is fantastic. They help us out with a lot of the programming. There are grant things coming up that I'm not supposed to make public announcements about it yet, so was not. But so yeah. I mean, if you want to give me more,
this
I'll
is your
take it.
first budget cycle.
It's my first budget ever.
Now you've seen how much fun it is up here.
Hey, yes, it's a hoot.
It's entertaining.
Yep.
That it is.
Feel free to ask for what you need.
Okay. I do think,
Easier to cut your budget
Yep.
and not get what you want.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it seems like it.
Yeah, I might not even approve this.
No, right now, thank you. Okay. I'm going to go home. It's been a long day. Cool. No, actually, though.
Thank you.
Am I good? Okay, thank you. Bye.
Great, thank you.
Look, Joseph.
You're all
This is
stressed
shorter
about
than
that for
mine.
nothing. Look at that.
After I take one.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I know.
I got a headache.
Yeah,
I need more caffeine.
I believe.
Okay, last but not least, revenues.
Okay, so I was doing an analysis of where we are in FY '24. Auto excise tax is right on track, and a lot of the other line items are right on track. But overall, I'm projecting an increase of the regular municipal revenues, so excluding the revenue sharing and homestead and Betty and property taxes, an increase of $150,000. Our code revenues have already met their budget goal, and I'm predicting that those will, well, Alex had spoke last night to them. We're probably gonna at least reach the 200,000 by year end. So he's proposing 175. He did say he's being a little conservative. One of the areas I did want to kind of touch upon, Sue and I had a conversation about the library's multi-bank securities investment of 130,000 that is maturing May 28th. And I have not withdrawn the 30,000. I was gonna hold off until it matures. But what is I'm kind of looking for the board's direction on, do we just want to withdraw the whole thing at this point, or reinvest the balance?
What is your interest rate on the MBS?
Oh, golly. I'd probably have to get back to you, Joe.
I mean, there's some banks out there that are giving you 5.5%.
Yeah, and
it's 5.5.
I'm thinking that's what it was, but, you know, after I take out the 30, it's gonna have 100,000 in it.
I mean,
And we generally, and then, you know, if I take out the other 30 that we did a duplicate of this year, it's gonna bring it down to the 70,000, so it's,
I mean, I would not recommend going into the stock market. I think a good 5.5% healthy return. Conservative on 100,000 is $5,500. You know,
You can get that on a 6-month CD, right?
right, and just roll it over.
okay.
You know, every 6 months and take a look.
So, investment income, we're doing really well with. I'm not sure, you know, Nathan was talking about his roadside mowing. I'm not sure if we're gonna get any in this spring. Chances are probably not. So, where it was, somewhat unpredictable for this budget cycle, I didn't wanna include it for next year, but maybe we can add that back in. So that was 74,000 there. I think that's a good ballpark figure.
So we don't have that revenue from the other towns built into next year's budget?
No. We didn't mow at all last summer for anybody else except for us.
Okay.
Didn't know what was coming forward, so I didn't do anything with it.
But you have 3 towns lined up?
Lined up for this year, yeah.
And that's fiscal year 25?
24. 24, 25. So
So
we're
it's
going
fiscal year 25.
25. We're going to be starting.
So you need to add those revenues in because that has an impact on the increase in the budget.
Okay.
But what
I'll
if
get
he
those
doesn't
numbers
get
for
it?
you.
What if they back
Or do you
out?
wanna just use the 74 or?
I don't think we're going to be that far up because we're not doing Sweden this year. I think it's a couple of weeks.
And you have that hired out, that position?
The track, yeah,
The operator.
No, the operator, we have an operator that goes with the tractor.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've already got a contract with those 3 other towns?
We haven't got a contract yet. We've got a verbal shake your hand, let's go.
Yeah, but.
We've never had a contract with.
Right, right, it's word of mouth.
Correct.
Handshake.
Yep.
But I would recommend you put some revenues into your budget. Now, if you think it's $74,000?
No, I don't think it's going to be that much this year. I think it's probably going to be in the 20s.
Well,
Right.
and the 74 was based on the prior years when we did the plowing for the school.
Right.
We didn't-
Correct.
We didn't get
Yeah,
that. we
that was
didn't
10 grand for the schools, plus the hourly rate.
So even if it's 15,000, it's impactful.
Any of the other line items you think have some wiggle room in them?
Well, I think there's wiggle room. You get wiggle room in 2 areas. You got wiggle room in the code fees, and you get wiggle room in the
Rescue fire
rescue
collection?
fire. I mean, and so, well, you know, I think as we look at where we're going to ultimately end up, I think that's some makeup areas there.
So what would you suggest? Maybe the 200 in CEO fees? And
Yeah, I mean, based on where you are year to date on there, and the projections that Alex was having the other day, I don't think 200 would be out of line there.
Right.
And on the rescue fee collections, you know, I mean, you know, you're you know, if you annualize where you are year to date right now, that could be close to 3, but I wouldn't take it up there yet.
Just keep in mind on the rescue, our summer months are our busiest, and they're already in this budget. So you can't say, 6 months is.
Yeah, but when
We're
you
gonna-
look
we've
at it,
gotta
when you look at it year to year, it's been so far over what was budgeted anyway.
Yes.
I mean, you've been over, 50, 60% over what was budgeted anyway. So I mean, I'm not saying it's purposely underdone. It was done because it was kind of you don't want to overpromise, but
260.
If we look at history, that number is
It would increase people that are coming through.
Yeah.
Another 25,000 in that one?
Maybe 260.
Yeah.
260, 265?
What are we talking?
We have not used any of the selectmen contingency. Is that correct?
We've
No.
used two selectments this year.
No.
No, no,
Contingency,
contingency.
they
Oh, I'm
do.
sorry.
That-
75,000.
We have not spent any of it.
No.
No.
So that goes back, if we don't use it, back into undesignated fund balance.
Well, it's listed on the audit as a carry forward.
Do we carry that forward every year? It's on a new line item every year?
No.
I think we used it, not last year, not this
So the
year.
last time
Is
we
it
used it was
legal?
on the outboards.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was because they blew up.
2 years ago, 3 years ago, yeah.
It wasn't all of it, but it was most of
It
it.
was- Yeah, I think it was like 63, 66,000, something like that, yeah.
But I mean, that's, you know, I
For
mean,
the
that's
marine-
that's
was
what
it
it's there
marine
for.
motors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For those
But
unknowns.
if we're carrying over contingency, why isn't a line item in the budget?
You have a warrant article, right?
Right.
For the 75,000 to
Yeah.
use it, so it
Right.
shows up as a revenue. And then if you do use it, then, because you would use it,
Right?
but it's because it's a kind of a restricted type of revenue
Right.
source. Maybe the warrant article doesn't allow for it to be carried over, but that's how the auditor is treating it. So I think there's 150,000 in it right now.
Have we ever carried that over?
It's been authorized each year, but it's, it wasn't.
rather have it
It
lapse
wasn't one of the
into the
ones in the,
undesignated
it
fund
wasn't one of the
balance?
ones in
Yeah.
the carry forward article.
Yeah,
Right.
Never seen it.
Right, it's not,
So
it's
essentially.
never been voted to carry forward.
No, so it goes back into the. So
Right, it goes back into
yeah.
UDF.
Okay. I'll get that corrected and
You have
The only ones that carry forward is the,
CIP and HRA.
Right, anything in the CIP
yeah,
And
and
the
the
HRA.
HRA,
and the HRA.
which makes sense, because the HRA, then we only have to top off each year.
Yep.
So I'll get that restated in the audit.
Yeah.
So it will go back into the UFB.
So what did that fire go to, the 260?
I think we'd be
260.
okay with 260, 265. And we're gonna put,
CEO, the code fees to
code
200.
enforcement fees up to 200,000 and, Nathan's roadside mowing, maybe 50,000
No,
would be.
15.
15.
Oh, 15,
Yeah.
okay.
So, all right, so go with the 265, give it a little bit more, 465, 480.
So last year's warrant article on using undesignated fund balance was 100,000 because we were running really slick.
Right.
What does everybody think about this year? I mean, we've had it as high as 400,000.
Anything we could do to help,
Yeah.
because of last year and everything, yeah, if we can add it in, let's do it.
Well, I think I mean, part of what we don't know, do we have a good number yet from Kurt on
School?
new building?
Yeah, $10 million.
I think he said 9.
9 million in new construction in value.
Yeah, value, not.
And he does tend to be conservative.
So 16 times 9 is 140. Is that right?
Yeah.
That sound right? 54, 144, right? So,
But, excuse me, last year was 200, Joe.
We did? Oh, I
Article
thought we
11.
were lower for
no,
some.
I thought we were 100.
Maybe we squeezed
Well, I
in
think
that
when we-
extra
I
then,
think when we,
Okay.
it was authorized up to.
Right.
It was
We
the-
only
It
used
authorized,
100.
it was authorized up to.
Oh,
when we
okay,
set
it
the
was another one,
commitment,
okay.
we only committed to using 100K in order.
It was pretty tight.
Because that article is written as an up to, so that, because until we get all the LD1
Yes.
information and whatnot, that's, we kind of use that to buffer that to make sure where we
So-
are.
I just want to make sure my
That makes sense.
So can we do the 400,000?
I think it's a little steep based on my projections to where we're gonna end up at year end. But it's totally up to you folks.
I mean,
Especially,
all you're doing is up to 400,000.
and if we restate the audit to move the selectmen's contingency of 100, I think it's 150,000 back into the UFB, that kind of offsets what you've been doing in the past.
And that new valuation brings in $140,000 in taxes.
I say anything we can give back.
I think going up to 400,000 makes sense. gives you a little more wiggle room.
You know, say, well, you know, when we get to the,
Doesn't mean you gotta use it.
doesn't
just
mean,
like-
well, it doesn't mean we'll
Yep.
use it all, because once we get all the
Numbers.
final figures on, you know, I mean, because the other thing, the other thing that we have to understand is that what's in there right now for the school is wrong.
It's just a place.
It's, you know, it's carryover from what, you know, I mean, it just carried the same figure from last year. We know that that's
gonna
going
be
to
more.
increase. We just don't know what it's going to increase to.
Oh, it's usually like
So
4 or
we've got to,
5%.
you know, that gives us, by doing that, that gives us a little bit of wiggle room too, to be able to accommodate for
Are you
what that
serious?
increases.
So what you're thinking is 400,000 out of surplus, and then the revenues, the 2 million plus down at the bottom, that you're predicting unassigned will also roll into the budget like we did last year? Is that on this revenue line here?
Well, yeah, if you increase the revenue line, that, you know, that impacts.
Well, that goes into a fund balance.
Right, but last year we used like $1.8 million of the revenues. Correct me if I'm wrong, or maybe that's an up to too.
No, that's your operating budget. That's completely different. You're just using those revenues towards your operating budget. What the undesignated fund balance is used for is to lower the mill rate, or lower the
Yes.
increase in the budget and lower the mill rate. They're two
And to
separate
sustain
items.
operations for at least 2 months,
Right. I mean, we have the policy at 15%.
right?
And we will continue to keep it at 15% because that's
Yeah.
what keeps our bond rating where it is.
Derek just wrote 6.7 on my thing. That's what they're looking at, maybe the school budget.
The school budget, that's their preliminary number.
That's a lot. That's a
Oh,
lot.
yeah, it's gonna be millions of dollars.
Wow.
We are paying what, 13 million, somewhere around there right now?
We're paying 11.9 right now.
Okay.
So it's
6.7
probably going to
over
go
that.
up to 12,
Yeah.
12.4, 12.5. I mean, and part of that is because we don't get, you know, Raymond doesn't get that much out of the.
We're a low receiver,
Yeah, we're a low receiver.
Yeah,
on
we don't
state
get any of
funds.
it back.
5%,
Yeah.
which is the minimum.
So can I get this clarified again? On Article 20 last year, it said that we would appropriate the total sum of 1,837,002, 1,000,008 from estimated nonprofit tax revenues. Isn't that what we're talking about down here, the total of other revenues? You know, on the end of this revenue list that we just went through? Isn't that what we've done for a few years, is to use that, in other words, the revenues that are going to come in?
Are just used to operation.
Right, it goes right in the operation, but is that the number we're going to be looking at doing, is what I'm asking?
It's no.
Well, Kurt will have to calculate that.
No, he's talking about
looking at
the outside revenues,
Yeah, the
right?
non-property tax revenues.
Non-property tax revenues. That's what you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, that's totally separate than the property value,
Right.
revenues.
Right, but-
So that's a separate warrant article.
Right, and that will go to offset the budget too, right?
Right.
What we're expecting to
It's
come in.
part of the
That's why we're
operational
elevating.
budget
And
right
the
now.
reason I'm saying that is just so it's clear what is being used. And it's the stuff that'll come in, like the rescue building.
Yeah.
Instead of going to surplus, it'll go here and we'll have the ability to use it.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Thank you. That's what I was trying to, I just wanted to be clear if I had a question asked. So we're not really bumping that up much. Right now, she's got figured out to 2.165, 288, and we're just going up a 25 here and 20 there. So we're probably going to go up another 50,000 maybe. Not a whole lot, but still, it'll help. Okay. All right. I wanted to know where it was going and what we're using it for, that's all.
Better than the sharp stick in the eye.
Yeah.
So you understand what that is?
Yep. Yeah, so go.
I don't know, sometimes.
2.215.
Yeah, plus all the things we
Yeah, 'cause
changed. Okay.
I mean, it's not a final number yet until we're all
Right.
done with the warrants, but it's close.
I mean, and then you get, then we have the other things that we have to contend with, which is when this gets finalized, where does that put us next to versus LD1?
Right.
Yep.
Because then we may have to then, you know, that can affect some of the other articles, because if we're over LD1, then we have to authorize the overage.
Is there any increase in revenue sharing this year? Have we gotten
A
numbers
little
from the
bit,
state?
a little bit. 20,000 is the estimate. 464 to 485.
Okay. Which also goes into that number, Dennis.
Yeah, but that makes sense. So we were joking around a couple of years ago about how much excise tax was coming in with all the expensive cars. Did that stay up, or is that we see a dip in that?
No, it's healthy.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice to have those people buying those cars.
Joe was always good for one every 2 years.
I have
No, I
a
got
small
one of them.
pickup truck now.
Problem is, the small pickup trucks
Yeah.
are more, you know,
Exactly.
when you look at that versus 5 years ago.
On registration, not the excise, also it just goes to the state.
Excise goes to us.
Okay.
Yeah, but the
The registration
Actual
fee goes,
registration.
the registration fee
all
goes
but
to
$2
them.
or something.
Yeah, we get the
All right.
HSV.
So can we do county tax? I want to go here earlier than later.
Surprised that plain excise isn't.
All right, can we move on?
We don't have any plans.
Karen?
We have had. We have. had.
She's on mute.
Yeah.
You're on mute.
Sorry.
You get
So
county
it looks like
tax.
we've covered all of the topics. Is there anything that we have missed? Have we covered everything?
Our favorite, county
You got
tax.
Our favorite, county tax.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go to the county tax then.
It's just a rubber stamp, isn't it?
Pretty much. They can
Right.
place a lien on every house in Raymond if you don't pay it. But this is just an estimate,
Good
right?
try.
Right, because they've changed to a fiscal year, they
Right.
won't be actually adopting it until June.
No.
So again, it's a,
Yeah. One question, I should have asked it under revenues, but have we received the payment from the state on the,
we received a portion of it.
okay, how much,
Like
what percentage?
55,000 out of 130,000.
And where's the, when are they
Where is the
promising us the
shortfall gonna be
balance?
coming from? I have not been really following that route, so I'm not sure.
Because, I mean, otherwise, you know, I mean, essentially otherwise, we've got a, you know, we've got a $50,000 shortfall on that income side.
On
Right.
which one?
Well, what,
The LD
it's the
290.
money the state was, you know,
The
when.
freeze
when-
on the senior property
freeze-
tax?
Oh,
freeze on
yeah,
senior
yeah.
properties, the state was gonna reimburse for what that difference was, which, you know, we always questioned as to whether they
We always knew
actually
they
do all
wouldn't pay
that,
it.
all they said they were gonna do on that. But if that doesn't come through, then we're carrying that $50,000 loss.
Have they been, have
And
they,
so,
are they
so
talking
the
about how
question,
to
well,
address that?
so the
or-
question is then, do we send the state to collection? I mean, it's a serious question.
It is a serious question.
Because they promised us that money. If they haven't given it to us, we should put them out to collection. It's that simple.
I love it when he does these one-liners on things, and it's like, this is the state. You can't get anything from the state.
No, I think you ought to follow up with,
Yeah.
what is it, taxation? You're on taxation?
Yep.
And just send them an email and say, hey, when are we getting the second half of that payment? So,
If not, it's coming out of Joe's budget.
You want to make Joe Crocker do that?
No, I was gonna say it's coming out of his budget.
Oh. Why don't you just have him make the phone call at taxation?
Joe, you do get along with a lot of people, so yeah, your connection.
I think the librarian can do it.
Yeah, I think.
I think he can pull it out.
Therese, how,
Friends.
on the 6-month assessment?
So we really
how many
didn't
more
talk about county.
payments do we
This
have
is
on?
the second year out of 5,
Okay, so we got 3 more years left.
yes.
And you know what that was? The county,
The $80,000
the
on that
county has
county tax line?
moved their fiscal year.
Yes.
So what they did is they did an assessment, or catch-up assessment. They gave us, they let us spread that out over a 5-year period into 3. So
Oh.
that's what, that amount will carry in the next 3 budgets too.
That's an interesting idea.
Well, they wanted it all at once. So as you can see, it would have been $800,000.
It's crazy.
You don't need these, do you?
And then did they charge us interest?
I know, so is that
No, they did not actually. They did not.
That was the one thing they
Access
didn't,
to printers and
didn't charge
whatnot, they may
interest on.
want hard copies for their books.
It's unbelievable.
Right, you like carrying them around.
Anything else? Karen, we all done?
Yeah.
Anything else? Public comment? Do we have public comment
We
for
do.
tonight? Okay, Budget Finance Committee comment?
Well, we got budget, public
Yeah, we got
right
someone
now.
standing.
Yeah, I'll make this brief. I know the hour's late. Just first of all, I think if we didn't choose to pay the county tax, they wouldn't put a lien on every resident.
Yes, they would.
They'd probably just put a lien on all of the selectmen. So that'd be my guess. Anyway.
Wait, our, yeah.
Yeah, just your house, that's all. And then I guess the state would then get their money. Or the county. I just wanted to say it's been very interesting the last 2 nights in watching this. I do believe that watching the select board meetings, that the chair asked that department heads going forward in the budget process should really be looking at how to do things differently or opportunities. I think I heard that tonight. As far as people discussing things like looking at grants. And I've heard the discussions about that. And it might be that it would be worth considering hiring a grant firm that can research and look at what grant monies are out there. Certainly, the current staff does not have the time to do that, even if they have the expertise. I just share with you this. In listening to this process, it's, you guys are all talking about, a fiscal year. My role the last couple of years has been looking at 10 years down the road. So it's from a little bit different perspective. There may be the sense that Raymond is growing, but what I'll tell you is what the demographics say, and I happen to have access to them because of what I'm doing on the Comprehensive Plan Committee, is that there's only one demographic in Raymond that is showing any growth at all, and that's for individuals over the age of 65.
Yep.
So when you're thinking about long-term, what you're doing as far as providing services, you really got to be thinking in terms of that, or at least that's just like a little preview as to what's going to come out of the comprehensive plan, But once again, the perspectives is different. You're dealing with the day-to-day or the month-to-month, and that's challenging. But I think I saw that. I'd say that the chair's request that the department heads, think out of the box and look at options really applies to everybody in this room as well. So that should be applied to everyone. I guess I would just say that what I'm seeing preliminarily as far as community feedback. It could change, but my guess is on the committee, and we've got two people that are on this committee that are also on comprehensive plans. So please correct me if I'm misunderstanding it. But as an example, Frank spoke to a number of elderly residents of Raymond, and what were their concerns? What were they looking for? They were looking for sidewalks. They were looking for rides to appointments. I noticed that in the providers that came here the last 2 days, we didn't see the regional transportation. I had a personal conversation several months ago with the executive director of that company, right after I read the announcement that they were going to discontinue bus service through Raymond. And he told me 2 things. Number one was that from Naples, from Naples to Portland, every community along 302 donates. They ask for $10,000, and we have been reluctant to do that. I'd ask you to reconsider that, especially getting the feedback from the elderly here. Utilization, I know that's a question, and we look at those numbers. But I think ultimately, for a town that has now absolutely no public transportation, yeah, 10 grand is chicken feed. So anyway, it's easy for me to say that. I'm not the one that has putting together this budget.
Did I just hear you write a check for 10,000?
Yeah.
You're gonna write a check for 10,000?
Myself?
Yeah.
We'll
just put a lien on your property for it.
I'll think about that, Joe.
All right.
But I'm just saying that's one of the things we're dealing with, the feedback we're getting from the community.
And you know what, Peter? And it's a great idea, but utilization's not what people say it is. And their problem is their pricing plan. Until they fix that pricing plan, it makes no sense.
As far as everyone pays the same fee?
Yes, $3 from Bridgeton
Yeah.
or $3 from Raymond makes no sense.
Yeah, well, we could debate that, Joe, as far as, I guess I would ask, what does this group think it would cost to provide that service to 5 residents in Raymond? And I was hoping, when I heard about the provider for the elderly, I almost felt like saying, but it sounded like the endowments that they get are basically restricted. But gee, can you kick in a little bit there? I mean, you're seeing all these things you can do, but how about a little transportation?
Take a look at their income statement and their balance sheet.
Yeah.
They do quite well.
Yeah.
They're federally funded.
Yeah. So
And state funded.
I bit my tongue on that one, didn't follow up on it. Anyway, thinking out of the box, looking for grants, maybe a grant writer. I've heard a lot of discussion lately about goal setting. I can tell you, I'm aware of 2 different types of goals. There's aspirational goals, and that's that the community will always say, we want taxes to be low. And then there's realistic or achievable goals, and that's saying something more like we're gonna do our best to be responsible fiduciaries in the town, and that's our goal, to do that. So,
Peter, when you did the survey, how high? What was the list like? Were there number one concern the taxes like they were 10 years ago or 05?
Well, it's interesting. We've got a good group of consultants, and they're pretty schooled on how to write a survey so that they're not necessarily leading people to say one thing or the other. But then we've done very specific goals. We were at the election in 2022, and we had 5 different choices for people as far as what's most important for them. And the committee selected those based on the 2004 comprehensive plan and the like. And they got a colored pom-pom for first, second, and third choice and dropped it in a jar. We got over 900 voters to do that. And I got to tell you, it was kind of, so that was a very informal type. But we've had the online surveys as well, and not as many to respond as I would have hoped. But that's the way it is. Bottom line, though, is I think what we're facing is, I guess I get the question going over the next 5 to 10 years. One of the things that's coming out very strong as far as the citizens are concerned is about road safety, traffic. What are you going to do about the traffic? And these roads aren't safe. And so, maybe sidewalks might help. But where do you get those? Well, we got some down in the village, so we're getting there. Thank you.
Thank you,
I
Peter.
appreciate what you all do.
He will
Thank
not
you.
sign anybody else's paperwork until we get sidewalks. So my kid says. He says, Raymond has to
Okay.
have sidewalks.
Do we have a Budget Finance Committee comment?
No, I'll just quickly follow up what Peter said with the survey. I have it in front of me. October 2023, Raymond Comprehensive Survey asked, 2022, the pom-pom survey that you were talking about. Respondents selected from 7 categories. The top response was natural resources, followed by infrastructure, economy, land use, municipal service, and then lastly, housing. So just to give you an idea that Raymond citizens are very concerned about our natural resources. So keep that in mind as we move forward for the next 10 years.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other Budget Committee comments?
No, I don't think, I like the heatedness. I have to tell you, I think when people have passion, and I know the voice may get up there, but it means they care, And no matter what side of the articles that we're on or issue we're on, I think it just shows that people give a hoot. So to that degree, we had some input.
All right, and select board comment?
I just want to say what fun this was tonight. I love a good argument anytime. You know, it's the only way you bring everything out into the open and talk about it.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And as long as you don't walk away personally mad at someone, there's nothing wrong with it. And I'm not mad at anybody. So.
And it's nice that
Great.
it's not quiet sections. You know, I feel like
No.
last year when I first year, it was pretty quiet, and now we're actually having conversations.
It was quiet last year.
Yeah, which I think is wonderful.
Super quiet.
I mean, I think this is my 18th budget season here.
Oh my God.
And I'm one of those old people Peter keeps talking about, you know?
We got to get you a sidewalk.
I know. I need a sidewalk down
Or a
my road,
Segway.
for sure.
Here, youngsters.
But I appreciate everybody and their contributions, and it's good open talk.
You're a youngster
Yes.
then on that.
Oh, you got a motion?
Very
I got
good.
35.
All right, motion to adjourn?
I would make that motion.
Second?
Okay. Thank you all very much. Appreciate your time and your passion.